to how they're teaching the children to suck cock at school. And then you got to wonder, has cock, and forgive me, I know this is a family broadcast, but I'm just asking questions. This is part of the philosophical portion of this broadcast. You don't really get this many. Is sucking cock something that has to be taught? Like in school, out of school? Has it been going on from the beginning of time? Kind of like the Isis Horus Set myth. Is it just an innate quality of beingness? Right? These are the tough questions. You know, we're not afraid to ask them here, regardless of how we're looked at. Okay. By the way, for those of you who are new, let's subscribe and all that. You're going to see that this broadcast has a very low budget. And that reminds me of something I came across recently. The 1966 version, little nostalgia here for all you folks up there in age. Believe it or not, a large contingency of my audience is, I believe, 60 or over. It's the weirdest thing. You'd think it would be, mostly younger people. But no, the boomers check in here. This is a place for boomers. So shout out to you. A lot of folks born prior to 1966, believe it or not. This broadcast reminded me of the 1966 version of the Batman and Robin series, as far as funding goes and budget. Trick streamers, right? It's a great one. If you go back out that series, it's fascinating to see how far we've come when it comes to AI, graphics, and all the rest of it. That was the best they had at that point. Joker throws a string. Paul G, of course, is checking in. Hope all is well. Salute. Thank you, Paul G. And Scott B, a very generous man, early this this morning. By the way, my apologies. A lot of folks came here a.m. last night and 6 in the morning because I mistakenly had the schedule over here set to 3:30 a.m. like the dunce that I am at times. You know, it happens to the best of them, even a God of all media, right? Just a mere God of all media, nowhere close to the God of creation. I'm extremely imperfect. We know that. We've seen that. So yeah, turns out we're here now. That's what matters, right? Better late than never. But I didn't plan on that. You guys got that notification. My mistake. I thought I was being slick, right? I'm like, let me set up the notification like 24 hours in advance, so way everyone gets reminded of it. They show up at 3 in the morning. What are you gonna do? So Scott B says, "'Tis the season, brother. Blessings and thank you, Mr. Scott. That's very generous. Scott's been a very generous man. A lot of folks, very generous supporters here, and I am eternally thankful and grateful for you and to you, because why wouldn't I be? And he might say I don't deserve a damn thing, the way that I've been speaking and acting for how many years. I mean, you had a guy just in here earlier said, you are sick beyond belief. Thank you for saying, sir. That's part of my allure, part of my edge is the appearance that I just might be mentally, emotionally, or spiritually sick at times. You can draw a crowd as well, so somewhat good for broadcasting. Not so good for interpersonal relationships, at least with the normies, as they call them. Man said earlier, only normies celebrate the holiday season. So questions, comments, concerns, the Christ Moss season, the spirit is here. I believe that you're doing things right and correctly. I think it would be an everyday sort of season. You know, you got gorilla season and then you got Christ Moss season. But during the holiday seasons is a time where I'm a bit more forgiving and allowing, right? You remember you had the year and a half where I would open the link every day and bring folks up, and it would turn into essentially a circo, is what I call that. Is actually the name of the broadcast, Circus Fuck Show, unofficially. I don't do that any longer, at least as much as I can help it. I like to kind of carry the thing and set an intention and, you know, see if I can do the broadcast, right, as a broadcaster and not lean on everyone else and not turn it into either a asylum here or a social hour. But during these times, I let up a little bit, right? A little bit more allowing. It's like, oh, hey, it's the holiday season. We're supposed to be like familial as a family broadcast, that whole thing. You know, maybe we check in with each other where folks just hang out. They sit in, you know, if they so choose. I'm a little bit more open to that during these times than I would be normally. If not, we move forward. Okay, I'm not gonna lose sleep about it. I don't need you guys to be here. Hey, you don't love me? You know, you don't want to be part of the trailer trash Christmas with me? Go fuck yourself, politely, respectfully. All right, let's. Oh, by the way, the number's up. Try the number. I don't suspect we'll be getting many, if any, calls. Usually the calls come streaming in when we break through the algo, and I usually can tell that by the number situation, but anything's possible. The algo does love Donald Trump. Let's see, 602-730-0122. I'm vomiting just because I'm imagining calls about Donald Trump, and it tends to happen. Okay. We're up and running, and I, more importantly, got the notification. A lot of times when the number's there and they call in, I don't get the notification. All right, let's get into some of what I've had up there, you know, kicking around a little bit. You know, I want to go to Dick Marple, I think. Well, first, public service announcement. And hopefully you folks are not using seed oils this holiday season and no 3D printed meat. You may have heard that Campbell's, one of the associates, got caught. I don't know how these people get caught. It's almost like they want to get caught. It's like part of criminology, right? Like you do bad, wrong, evil, guilty shit often enough, Eventually, you almost want people to know about it. It's like it's not as fun if people don't know about it, right? It's like why serial killers like leave notes at the scene. You go, ha ha ha, you can't catch me, but seriously, can you catch me? That weird subconscious thing that goes on. But yeah, so Campbell's associate got caught over a phone line, basically saying that they're using 3D printed meat. And it's not like we couldn't figure that out. Like, if you're at this point and you're watching or listening to me and you're here and you can't figure out that pretty much 95% of what's in your local supermarket is probably washed, sprayed, injected, poisoned in some shape, form, or fashion, you might be a little retarded. Okay? I'm saying that like as a clinical term. I'm not insulting actual retarded people. I'm insulting normal people who should know better and do better, who choose not to because they just don't care and won't do what makes sense. And that's why they get allowed to be called retarded, right? We don't actually call really retarded people retarded. We call normal people who should be smarter and do better retarded. Try to remind them of what their obligations are. Be more responsible and accountable. Do the right thing. You know? And we all could use that at times. You know, a little wake-up call, right? So let's go to that. Campbell Soup VP was caught on a secret recording saying Campbell Soups are for poor people, which is true. I don't think anybody here is going to deny that. It doesn't sound good. We don't like to say that out in the open. You know, we don't like to hear that, but it's true. Campbell Soup is for poor, stupid people who can't spend the extra $1.50 to make their own fucking soup. You know, and you probably make like, if you probably spend another $2 or $3, you could probably make a gallon of fucking soup instead of one of those tiny little cans. And it'd be less poison, not completely unpoisoned, but probably way less poison and way less table salt, right? For all the pre-diabetics out there. And it also says that they use bioengineered meat, aka 3D printed meat, right? So for all you 3D printed meat eaters out there, this is for you.
Former Campbell Soup Company employee is taking legal action against the food giant, and he's making some explosive allegations about one of its top executives. Good evening, and thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Ty Steele.
I'm Kimberly Gill. Those allegations are now at the center of claiming the company's vice president went on an hour-long tirade attacking the company's products and employees before taking aim at its customers.
And the former employee recorded it all. Eric Erickson shares that recording and what the company is saying about it.
We have shit for poor people. Who buys our shit?
And that's just part of over an hour-long rant, says former security analyst for Campbell's, Robert Garza of Monroe.
I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's so healthy. Now that I know the in it, even in a can of soup, I look at it, look at meat, bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer. The
recording allegedly of Campbell's VP and Chief Information Security Officer Martin Bally.
He has no filter.
Bally, along with another supervisor in Campbell Soup Company, named in a lawsuit filed Thursday.
This is the thing, right?
Bally made
I'm just going to leave
remarks.
it right there. I think that's enough. But this is the thing, right? This is why I'm not more successful in this world and this life. Because, like, I could probably go to school somewhere, like soup school, you know, figure out how to like make or be part of, you know, the commercial side of Campbell Soup and make hundreds of $1,000s a year, and they get on the phone and go, yeah, I don't know who eats this shit. Yeah, I'm the VP. Yeah, I'm representing this product, but it's fucking poison and it's for dumb poor people, right? That's why I do this broadcast. See, I can be honest here about my, you know, sort of perceptions of what this all is and why I believe it matters or not. But like, I can't imagine myself putting on the Campbell shirt every day and like going to meetings and going through the motions and getting a whole bunch of money and then getting on the phone and getting caught going, yeah, I don't know who's eating this shit. I wouldn't eat this shit. Like knowingly pushing poison and crap and then almost laughing about it, you know, and doing it specifically just to get money, right? I have some conscience, I guess, is what it amounts to. So, you know, don't fret, folks out there. I know there's probably some of you out there who aren't as monetarily successful as maybe you could be or should be in life, and should be is relative, but could be. And one of the reasons you're not, you know, beyond just being lazy and not wanting to work harder or create your own shit, is because you kind of don't fit in with the world and the ways of the world, right? This Campbell's soup debacle is a perfect example, right? I just can't say, and I can go for anything. Pick a product. I just can't see myself putting on the shirt every day and walking in and ignoring the reality that we face in order to get another 5 or 10 people signed up. You know, we're on the bandwagon. But again, that's just me. As I age, I might just get more and more mellowed out, as I mentioned earlier, and just kind of waver from my principles and values, and then just get extremely rich and well-to-do and successful in this world. You know, for me, my family that I don't have yet, my family that I'll buy at some point, right? Because I'll be so rich and successful. Who needs to even copulate? Just buy me a family. You know, I've sold so many fucking kinds of poison 3D printed meat Campbell's soup that my power, my influence, my success is undeniable. Right? A man can dream. You were just 33. What is that like? You know, it just came to mind. This is how my mind works, right? It's a very strange device up here. What immediately came to mind is that Beatles song where Paul McCartney's singing about having sex with an underage girl. She was just 17, if you know what I mean. And then it's like, when you stop and think about this for a second, like, no, wait, Paul McCartney, we don't know what you mean. Where are you going with this? You realize, again, that's part of that sub-psychological reveal, right? Paul McCartney was on records, and some will say Paul McCartney, Billy Shears, right? That's the whole thing. We should do that one day. Get into that for the people out there who are really into that, right? I've gone down every hole. Not like that. Especially not with the 17-year-olds. We know some other people on panels who remain nameless who have. I'm not going to get into it. If you know, you know. Hashtag IYKYK. You know, you know. So, but yeah, what's that about? See, and Laura, you took me off on a tangent there. I'm just asking questions. We're asking the hard questions. Someone write Paul McCartney, Billy Shears, whoever he is, and ask him, what's the whole line about she was just 17, if you know what I mean? Are you confessing to maybe Paul McCartney's on the Epstein list, is what I'm saying. You know, terrible. All right, this is terrible. He's giving me the Charles Barkley there. Okay, cut it. My in-chat producer says we don't go there. All right, stay away from there. Merry Christmas, Lionel. May God bless you in spirit and truth. Yes, Merry Christmas to Lionel, whoever you are. This is Calabash as well. Poisoning the food, water, and air, kind of like genocide. I don't know. Could be wrong. Yeah. We're staying away from, again, it's Christmas. We got good cheer going. It's holiday season. Donald Trump saving Christmas. And if he's not, I sure hope he is. Right? There is a poll up, of course. I voted for I sure hope he is. I don't know if he is or he isn't. We're keeping 1.9 million barrels of oil. Well, why not? A lot of folks bringing the facts here today. Give Campbell's a call. We could do that. There's a lot of things that we can do here. You know, a lot of things we intend to do that we never really get to. In the future, we'll call up Campbell. We'll ask them for their comments on the whole 3D printed meat thing. They're going to give me some official, you know, said that stuff might be true, it might not. We don't really know. We're not willing to comment, you know, but his views don't express the views. Eat your soup today. And DT, you know, and I get him alone and I tell him, bring the goods, right? Really kind of, you know, now it's a different story, right? So when you hit on me, be prepared to fuck me in private. I get it's an undertaking, right? It's a heavy task, unintended. You know, seeing me naked is nothing pretty. But again, if you're gonna hit on me in public, you have to fuck me in private. That's part of the rules. If not, you're just a mean person. Okay? Don't do that. It's important to be charitable, especially during these times of the season. Okay? So, All right, let's stay away from that. Again, I got off there. What that does. Chad is a very unruly creature. It was a monolithic creature. Very unruly creature. They open up a can full. That's another broadcasting idea. We can call up Campbell Soup while drinking Campbell Soup and eating 3D printed meat here and see what kind of tumors it creates on my body. You know, seeing what kind of god-awful disease emerges. Or if it emerges, you guys can vote on that. You know, it is an attention economy, and that may garner some more attention. Will the untimely death be the result of Campbell's poison soup? Tune in and find out. Yes, I get it. They're bringing up the fact that I have the hair going now. You know, I'm getting the bangs coming in and the beard, and I got kind of an Amish vibe look going on. I get it. We'll see how long we move on with that. Candace Owens has a big network to expose anything. She is my favorite. Okay. Who's going to tell him? Him, her? Who's going to tell these people that, you know, we can't prove it, but most likely, let's see, let's go down the list. Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens. Who else? Pretty much anybody. Let's just go there. Tucker. You know, good old Tucker, whose daddy was part of the government. Granddad come from big money. Is it always a coincidence? They always like want us to vote for masters. They always like say stuff like the taxes are just for the roads, not like the black DARPA programs. I don't mean African American. I mean like dark as in lacking in enlightenment, less than safe activities. You know, it's the same narratives, mainstream ideas. They repeat the same tropes, the same cope tropes for everybody to just suck up and spit back out. So let's get a clue for this New Year season. Going into the new year, I'm putting out the end again like I do every year, that we start to get a clue about what is most likely going on. Nick Fuentes, another example. They whacked Charlie Kirk, another example of a fraud, right? Never really an actual patriot, never really a real American, never stood for upholding the law, rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, purveyor of what some would call false religion. I'm not going to say that conclusively because I can be honest enough with myself and others to know I just don't know, right? It's a great skill that we got to cultivate, the ability to just say, I don't know, instead of saying, Jesus is the one and only. Jesus is coming back. Jesus is going to save us, and nothing else can step in for that. The truth is, none of us know. Right? If we're being honest with ourselves and each other, none of us know exactly who or what God is, where it is, what it does completely, how it works. If anything, we get flashes and glimmers of a universal intelligence that works within us or within our lives to generate an experience and outcome, right? At least that's from me. I'll speak for me. It's all I can ever do. So, you know, when you got these guys who just seemingly come out of nowhere, they always got a ton of money behind them, a ton of organizations, you know, they're pushed everywhere, while folks like myself and others are clearly shadow banned at times. You know, for those who've been here for a while, they know, they've seen it. Something is up there, right? It shouldn't take me or anyone else to get you folks to realize that a lot of the time, if not most of the time, I won't say all the time, but most of the time, something's up there. Charlie Kirk supposedly dies. We don't know that either. But now we all start repeating it. Erica Kirk comes out, starts doing WrestleMania, jumping on top of Charlie's cast. Pretty much had sex with J.D. Vance on top of the casket. Starts spitting out Hebrew in an interview. And next thing you know, we got our next hero, right? Bonnie Tyler. I corrected myself from last time. It wasn't Whitney Houston or Tina Turner. Bonnie Tyler, I Need a Hero. One of our favorite soundtracks as United States citizens. Our next new Republitard, conservatard hero is Nick Fuentes, don't you know? That's how I know of him, because you all probably know of him, because we've all heard through the not so grapevine, pushed everywhere, right? And of course, he's going to tangle with Pierce Morgan, just like Alex Jones, quite frankly, and so many others. These are all either direct agents, or they're a fraud and push certain narratives and keep us all engaged in certain ideas and on certain treadmill loops, or they're unwitting, unwilling dupes, right? Meaning you don't always have to have everybody on the take and on the make. You can just give platforms to and push people who are foolish enough to buy into and repeat certain things because they've grown up in this world. And when you grow up in this world, usually the lie rubs off on you. Very difficult to let go of certain people, places, things, and ideas and move toward new information, right? And another reason for this is, let's just go ahead and say it, the majority of folks, when we poll, I'm not saying this audience here today, of course, this audience here today is an exception, okay? But, you know, by and large, the majority of folks just not too bright on an IQ, EQ scale, you know, and there's many examples of this being proved, right? Slavid-19 was a perfect example of a simulation that proves that the majority of folks cannot muster an IQ above room temperature, right? They're lucky if they can hit that 75 to 95 area of IQ. They're not great with the critical thinking and making connections. They just kind of look around and listen to other people and kind of repeat what they heard or what they've seen. And when you bring them a scary, challenging, testing idea, they bury that because the EQ is not really that functional either, right? You got the IQ, intelligence quotient, and the emotional quotient, right? Anything that slave no listen, right? Slave no want to hear that. If slave hear that, slave have to change and do something different. Slave don't want to be accountable, responsible, right? That's slave speak. I'm talking in slave speak. It's a lot like caveman speak. For all the troglodytes, miscreants, mongoloids, and mongrels out there, okay? Not the unslavians. We know that that's a different group. That's a different breed. I love me some Ice Ice Baby. Now I'm wondering, is that the white guy with the hair, or is that the immigration's custom enforcement? Because if it is, the example of what I was just talking about. Because see, you'll Constitution, even though pull it up right now, because I always say this, and I got to thank somebody. Jimmy Shively, of course, another generous man. He says, appreciate you. No, thank you. No, thank you, Mr. Shively. You're a man among men. Okay, so let me go to the little ditty while it's rattling around in there. You know, as it comes, I just fly right out of my head. A lot of. Okay. Facebook post on my Facebook. Go ahead and join me over there. It's Paul Unslaved. Okay. If you're not a part of that experience, I post there from time to time, not as much as your favorite content creator, I'm sure, but every so often I come across powerful and valuable, and I throw it there for you guys' benefit. You know, we ruminate on it. So, quote, but my Constitution, for all the folks who vote for masters and think statute and code is law, it's not. It's given the force of law sent to the these same folks, right, who vote for masters and like peace, and their biggest problem now is open borders and illegals. That's their biggest issue and problem as we're going deeper into inflation and engineered economic collapse. And many other scenarios on the back of Slavid-19 and 85% of the world population being injected with potentially a bioweapon that mimics HIV and AIDS. Nothing to see here. Okay. Quote, this is from Paddleford, Fay and Company versus the Mayor, City of Savannah. Now, please look into this. Read the whole thing. Bring me back what you read to keep me honest. Make sure that I'm not saying anything untoward here, incorrect. No private person has a right to complain. Notice they say complain, not make a claim, but that's okay. Let's continue. No private person has a right to complain by suit, that means lawsuit, in court on the ground of a breach of the United States Constitution. Why? Though the Constitution is a compact, another way of saying contract, He is not a party to it, okay? So you have to ask yourself, well, if the Constitution is for all men and women of the people to uphold the law and their rights, why would a private man, according to this administrator, not be able to bring a claim before the Supreme Court citing the Constitution for where they get their rights? Well, because as I and others like Carl Lentz have brought up many times before, we, as men and women of the people, are not a party to the Constitution. The only people who are members of the corporation self-defined as United States Corporation. For all the new folks here, this is something we go over. I'll pull it up because we're on that trail right now. And I still, day after day, we should go to the comments. I could read them today on my original channel. Last night, the night before that, they're still streaming in, asking stupid questions that I've already answered, not doing the research. This is what the rabble do. It's no surprise to me at this point, but it's just a never-ending, unending continuance of these folks streaming in. It's what I imagine being a judge would be like, right? Bring in the next slave. Their foolishness. Okay, I'm going to make this really big. Make sure you guys can see it on your end. Then they'll say, Polly boy, but this code right here, because this is what the legal beagles do to try to deny reality. Because you get glimmers of the reality, and then you have to like open your mind and your heart and then make connections sometimes where they're not always drawing for you. These people are not good with that. But they go, Polly boy, this code is from trade shows and other commercial activities. I don't care. Just like they'll say, when you pull up the definition of motor vehicle versus automobile, where it clearly says motor vehicle is a commercial instrument, it's under Planes, Trains, Automobiles, and Motorized Crimes Act. What's the difference? It's at least some places, sometimes defined as this, which gives credence and credibility to the idea of what they call the sovereign citizens have been saying the longest time. And these folks want to deny that reality because they like to say certain things, like when a lawyer came here one time, well, it acts like that, but it is not that. See, that's double speak, lawyer speak. You want to double talk me, and it's what we call in the East Coast bullshit. Okay? They'll say, well, United States acts as a corporation, And this is when then I famously told Artie, the lawyer, okay, Artie, your mama's not a hoe. She just acts like one. You see the game? See how and he got uncomfortable by that, right? And I didn't really mean his mama was a hoe. I'm just pointing out this idea of the double speak and how ridiculous it is when they try to explain away these codes and policies and what it all really means with their double talk bullshit, right? So it's not that, it just acts like that. Well, where I come from, what you act like is what you are on some level, right? You know, you act like a slave, you're a slave, and they're going to treat you like one. So let's go here real quick, as we have many times before. United States business defined as the term United States business means a United States citizen. Wow. Can we stop right there? Yeah, we could, but we'll continue on. Why not? We'll read it out. Because they'll say, well, maybe there was more there. Boy, you don't want to read the rest of it? B, a corporation, partnership, or other association created under the laws, codes of the United States or of any state, including the District of Columbia or any Commonwealth territory or possession of the United States, foreign corporation, partnership, or other association. More than 95% of which is owned by persons described in some paragraph. Okay? So at least some places, sometimes it's right there in black and white. Go tell grandma under the mistletoe. Inform grandma that some places, sometimes in the code, define a business instrumentality as a citizen. Okay, and that makes sense because we're going to go to the next one, as we have many times before. And again, for all the folks who keep streaming and asking the same question, don't want to get it. It's not that they can't get it; they don't want to get it, because the implication becomes now that, oh my gosh, there's multiple constitutions. They've amended those constitutions. They've created a dual jurisdiction, common law constitutional versus administrative commercial, and they've deemed all being or self ascribing or describing as citizenry and 14th Amendment persons as business entities perpetually in commerce, therefore creating the jurisdiction for Congress, legislation, and other corporate bodies to regulate these beings and everything that extends off of them, okay? So when we talk about rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, this is what I believe is the linchpin scam that has been pulled not only on all Americans, but worldwide. The same system, and again, woe unto you lawyers and bankers, says in the scripture, because this is a banking legalist scam fraud that has been perpetuated from the beginning of time, arguably. If you even go back into scripture, it's right there. Okay. And it's being done worldwide. I don't care what country or land you go to. They've renamed that land a corporation, and they've claimed a charter, a compact, a contract is over and above all the people who are under it, who are described as persons. And when you go into this code, you find out a person is a legal entity. It's a business entity as well. See, it's all in the words and terms. So again, these people have used double speak and double talk and double meaning words to enslave the whole human race. And I believe, as crazy as this sounds, it's very well possible that it's because this is a spiritual dynamic, not just a physical dynamic. There is a spirit here that seeks to control and enslave and potentially even alter, abolish, or create abominations, as the scripture talks about, using mankind. And the way it does it is it convinces all of us that we are something different than what we are supernaturally under God with natural law, and gets us to call ourselves that, live like that, and then therefore be treated like that. See? Tries to get us to manifest and generate our own karma through these words and terms and phraseology games, right? That's why politics is referred to as political science. It's essentially the science of getting all the men and women who are born free, who have natural rights, to forego their protections under the law for privileges, benefits, sometimes immunity. You know, because if you sign up to be a house slave and you put on the uniform, well, then they exempt you from a lot of this stuff, right? We're now at a point where this is so far down the line. We're on a common law land where man created government. He who creates controls. That's a maximum of equity. But our servants are now dictating to us what we will do and how we will live and be, while themselves being exempt from the same statutes, policies, and codes they're pushed onto us. And of course, policy, like statute and code, was originally meant for corporations and corporate activity. That's why it's corporate policy versus rights and the law. That's why there's a legal society and that's law society. There's two of them for a reason, because legal is not lawful and vice versa. Okay? I'm so sick of MAGA preaching, it's disgusting. Well, great. I baited you in here. I tricked you. I'm letting you know, so it's not really a trick. I'm even better than your government. When I trick you, I immediately come out and remind you that I did it, and then I tell you why I did it, because I wanted to push myself in the algorithm today. I wanted to get a lot of you to show up so you get access to this understanding that I just dropped on you. You'll call it sovereign citizen nonsense and go off with your fluoride-addled brain activities for the day. Most of you, 5 or 10 of you, it will stick in your craw. You'll go, maybe there's something to that. And you will then progress on a decade-long journey or more of legal versus lawful, statute, policy, and code versus the law, looking up definitions, going to the CFR and all the various codes, and starting to realize the hoax that's been perpetrated on you and others. So I'm walking you out of the slavery genocide matrix in my own little way, is what's going on there. So turns out, I know that a lot of you, again, you're a perfect example. Many who will be here once we hit the algorithm, you're a perfect example of just repeating shit, going off presumption and assumption, not knowing what you're talking about, and being easily led, manipulated, and suggestible, right? I just did it here right now. Just a quick simulation showing you how it works. I'm not a MAGA person. Interestingly enough, ironically enough, I'm above and beyond MAGA person when I do my activism, because I uphold the law and the principles, the philosophical principles. Yes, the foundation of law is philosophy. That's why I used to be, I had to study logic, morals, ethics, and philosophy to even become a law major. No longer, because they don't want people who can think. They want people who can follow orders and repeat. So it keeps the system flowing smoothly. So I am, in fact, at least some places, sometimes, especially when I'm active in my activism, I am a true Republican or conservative because I actually stand for and speak and uphold the original foundational principles of the philosophy of the law that not only governs the universe, but is codified in the Constitution and stands for the law of this land, right? And essentially, if we were to boil that all down to what it comes down to, it's we pretty much on this land, that's why America was exceptional, because most other lands that aren't common law lands never conceded to the idea that man gets to do whatever they want to do as long as they don't cause loss, injury, and harm, threaten the safety of others, or breach the peace. Very simple criteria there. And if you go to the maxims of law, the maxim is defined as a principle in common sense that directs the interpretations of law, right? So common sense is a thing, philosophy is a thing, principles are a thing when it comes to making arguments at court and winning when it comes to upholding the law. That's all of what court and law is essentially a bunch of people arguing using common sense and principles, logic, morals, and ethics to make a determination about what should and shouldn't happen, okay? In case folks didn't know. So I'm not a MAGA person. I'm not a leftist, okay? Because leftist is communism and collectivism and socialism. I'm not a right-winger, fake Republican neocon who votes for masters and is a federalist, right? Which, again, interesting, ironically enough, most of you people don't even understand supremacy clause and the fact that states don't have a right to do a lot of the things they're doing because in the federal code it says you can't. And there's a thing called supremacy clause. When inferior code, which would be state code, conflicts with superior code, you have to err on the side of the superior code as long as neither is in conflict with the Constitution and the foundational principles. So you actually don't get a right to tell men and women what they can and can't do with their private property. You actually don't get a right to tell men and women what they can or can't do with their own body, because that's part of private property, right? This covers the idea of ingesting certain substances, moving your property without license, registering, insurance, forced contracting with a corporation, right? I know this is just wild stuff. This idea of like, erring on the side of freedom to do what we want to do as long as we're not impeding or interfering with somebody else's movement or rights, breaching the peace or threatening someone else's safety. I'm a perfect example. I'm 36 years old. I've never gotten a driver license. And I've been moving around on and off for how many years now? It was since 20 years. So after 20 years of track record of not causing any loss, injury, or harm or having any issues on the roadway, do you think that I should still need to follow the letter of the code rather than the spirit of the law? If the spirit of the law / code is not to do harm to your fellow man and keep the road safe? Well, of course not. The average dyed-in-the-wool slave will say, no, Paulie boy, everyone's got to follow the code unceasingly, unwaveringly. There's no way out of it. It doesn't matter what the purpose is or intent for it. Without that, we have chaos, they'll tell me. We have a call now. Caller on line 1. Let's see. I just got your... Oh, there we go. 562, are you there? 562, are you there? Hello?
562, are you there?
Okay, yeah, we're on a lag, man. This is like old time radio. Turn me down on the radio and then turn up the phone so we can talk directly.
Yeah, I turned it down.
Okay, can I get a name, sir, just so I can address you properly?
Yeah, my name is Julian.
Julian, okay. What can I do for you? Questions, comments, concerns? Do you want to just harangue me? Tell me how insane and crazy I am? You're free to do so. Thoughts?
Yeah. I don't think you're insane. It's been a while since I've seen you. I've seen your channel before. You're pretty cool. But I think we disagree on who controls the world,
Okay, tell me more.
Okay, let me ask you then. Who do you think controls the world?
Well, there's an initial answer I would give, and then I would step back from that and remind myself of what the real reality is. And the real reality is man and woman, right? In its purest form. That would be me, you, the 171 people in chat right now. We, like, de facto, by default, in fact, control ourselves and everything that extends off of us. So by proxy, we control the world if we let it be. If we don't understand this and we don't engage in that process and procedure, then there's kind of a list of folks, at least physically, who you could argue are in charge of managing the estate, right? And then we can argue what an estate is, because I like to say it's an etheric state, and now it goes to an electronic state as we move more and more into a technocracy. It goes from the spiritual to the physical to the technocratic. But yeah, you essentially have house slaves, slave masters who, through their banking system and legislation system and legal system, basically manage all the property and the affairs of man and woman in its purest form, because man and woman in its purest form, after 2,000 years, still can't figure out what Jesus came to teach, and many others, right, as sort of a parabolic or allegorical story. But go ahead. I'm sure you're going to enlighten me here.
No, I mean, I kind of agree, but I think this is probably going to get extreme. I don't know, but I think there's a certain group who controls the world.
Uh-oh. Is it the Vatican and the lizards? The lizards in the Vatican?
No. It's I don't know if I could say on YouTube, but they wear yarmulkes.
Oh man, we're going there. Okay. The small hatters, huh?
Yeah, they despise my Savior Jesus Christ. Those people.
Okay. Okay.
What do you think?
Well.
Look at everything, man. I mean, look at all the Hollywood. I searched it up. All the founders of Paramount, 20th Century, and more. All of their founders are Jewish. You look at Rothschild. You look at all the banks, Jewish. You look at everything. It's Jewish. Even the porn industry, and yeah.
Okay, so then my question would be, right? I won't even deny that. I'm not going to confirm or deny that. My question would be, if the Jews, as you put it, the small hatters are running everything, how did it get that way, sir?
How did it get that way?
Yeah.
I really don't know, but my guess would be, listen, this is extreme, but...
Okay, you got me locked in. I'm engaged. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Okay, so there's no denying Jews are smart people. There's no doubt. They're smart. They're really smart, even though I don't like them. Sorry.
Relax, sir. Yeah, we'll burn a cross later. Okay, we'll burn a cross and we'll spray paint a synagogue with a swastika after the broadcast. Okay, try to stay on the road to Rome here. What? So what's the reality?
My apologies. Once they moved to Europe and they mixed with the Europeans, I think that's how they made a good mixture. Because Europeans have good brains and the Jews have good brains. Mix that up, they're going to control the world. So yeah.
Okay, and again, what I was looking for, I'm gonna cheat here a little bit. Tell you what I was looking for. If the Jews run everything, how did they get it? The answer would be all of you supposed Christians and Catholics and good godly people gave it to them.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, the Protestants. I think it's the Protestants, the stupid Protestants. Because they believe they're God's chosen people and they believe that stuff. So, yeah.
Again, this is very simple. It doesn't really matter as much who or what group. Because, again, I contend this is a spiritual dynamic. That there is a spirit, whether it's Christo, as you put it, or Antichristo, working through man. And if you want to boil it down to this or that, well, then the only way that the Antichristo could run this whole place is if all the people with the Christo neglect that, deny that, and prioritize something else other than that, right? Because as you and I know, I'm sure you're aware, as they've made fun of me lately for my new look, my longer hair and my beard, the Amish aren't run by the Jews, sir. They're a self-regulating, self-governing community of folks who adhere to their religious/spiritual principles and to some extent are above control and manipulation, right? Because they prioritize their spiritual, at least they did as a principle. I don't know if all of them do, all places, all times, part of living in this world, in modernity, whatever time frame you're in, is a lacking or a sort of a lackadaisical, for lack of a better word, attitude toward keeping the faith, keeping your principles alive, keeping your traditions alive. We forego that to be a part of the modern world and to engage in the modern privileges and benefits of living in the modern world. And this is always the road to hell is good intentions, right? That's just how I see it. So I'm not going to confirm. I'm also not going to deny. The important part of the statement is whoever, whatever, as a physical group of people runs the world is inhabited by a spirit, you could argue. And the only way that spirit could get every man and woman from all four corners or the whole globe, if you believe it's round or flat, there's an argument over everything, to forsake the Christed spirit and the idea of rights, freedom, principles, and spiritual faith is if they give up that spirit over to the Antichristo, right? So again, I put the onus on the individual and groups of individuals to either decide to do activism at times, question and challenge, and engage in that Christed spirit, as you put it, or suffer the consequences of neglecting that and denying that and giving over your body, your mind, your emotions, your spirit, everything that's proper to you, your traditions, your faith, over to this Antichristo spirit that is inhabiting whoever, whatever group of the time, right? Because if you look back far enough in history, it seems there's always a group that comes to power. That group has the same ends as the last group who was in power. They call themselves something different. They say they're a radical change, but it always winds up going the same way, right? That to me is proof of the spiritual dynamic. Doesn't matter who the people are, where they're from, what they call themselves. They always have the same perspective. They always do the same actions, and they always wind up leading themselves and humanity to the same place.
I've never seen something like this before, though, where a group of people that is 0.2%, you could double check me, it's that small, control like 90% of all things. I think that's weird.
I think that it makes perfect sense if what I just said is true, which we know it is. The only way that Slavid-19 could happen. I don't know if they still, I really don't care at this point. I've said whatever I wanted here. Still have access to the algorithm to some extent. So I can really say whatever the fuck I want here, and oftentimes do. The COVID-19 scam was only pulled off because 85% of the slaves cared more about their job and making money and what their stupid family thought than what was true and what's right and their own damn health and what God has revealed. Okay?
Yeah.
And they were more than willing to crucify me metaphorically, metaphysically, allegorically, when I tried to tell them all on the social media, what I call the anti-social media. They were more than willing to tell me, shut up, fat boy. Shut up, Republitard. Shut up, leftard. Whichever side they were on, right? They called me the opposition, their own countrymen, the opposition. And they told me, shut up. How dare you try to tell us what's true and what's right and reveal to us that we're all genociding and enslaving ourselves. That's the only way that this can continue, sir, and has continued. When you have people who show up with some light in them and some revelation from the Creator, the majority cries out in one voice, as they did in the time of Jesus, give us Barabbas. We don't want this, though. We don't want twisted spirit and energy. We don't want consciousness and awareness. We don't want enlightenment. We don't want rights and freedom and self-government. What we want is a convenient and supposedly safe reality and lifestyle. And that is always the entree into suffering and death, right? Because behind philosophy, what it really is the same thing talked about in the Garden of Eden. Eat of this fruit and you will become as God, right? Not God-like, in place of God, okay? So that's all the philosophy of putting shots in your system is that somehow, some way, we can get a bunch of clowns in a factory to produce some kind of serum that's going to overwrite what naturally is meant for all of us, right? See, and that philosophy is hand in hand with we are going to replace God and God's system. So, of course, it makes sense philosophically why we physically see the results that we see and why we see societally where things are going, because this is all a spiritual, metaphysical, philosophical conjuring. I have to urinate, sir, but go ahead and take over and give us more about the Jews and whatever else is running the world.
Yeah. I'm scared.
Come on, man, take over. You were supposed to take over. This is your time.
Oh,
You got 160 people watching. They're just going to sit in dead silence. Dead air is the enemy of a broadcast.
I said I'm scared because I gotta get a gift for Christmas. But anyways.
Well, also, another thing we need, someone should gift me a catheter for this Christmas so that I can urinate while I'm in the seat and I don't have to leave. But go ahead, continue on with the musical interlude. I don't know if you can hear that.
Show them the power of a God-fearing man. Dear Lord, please deliver us from evil. The devil doing all he can.
All right, now I'm back. You're a regular Nick Fuentes.
Show them the power of a God-fearing man. Dear Lord, please deliver us from evil. The devil doing all he can.
1013 WSLV, the only radio station that's all about slavery, genocide, and rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith. And you heard it here first. Our caller, our precious caller, says he's tired of the Jews and he's hungry. Okay? That is a real American right there. Yeah. So again, you know, a lot of rhetoric, even this whole America first thing. America is a conceptualization like all countries are. It's an idea. You can't point to it. You can't hold it in your hand. You can say there's land that we're all on and borders that we've made. But ultimately, it's another conceptualization. It's another philosophical projection in its own way. And again, America is only America if we stand for what made America great. I'm using the verbiage. What made America great was this idea of upholding universal law, conscience-based universal, using logic, morals, and ethics, and certain standards. Why it used to be called American value, American standard. So we need to put universal law first. We need to put consciousness and awareness first. We need to put logic, morals, and ethics first. And we need to put the idea of inherent human rights first. This way, we can create a new world order. I'm using their verbiage. Not a new world order as we are being shown, where we suck down cockroach milk, you know, and chew on root. New world order with the majority. Imagine this. This is radical. You talk about radical. Oh my God, I can't even imagine this. Where we actually have a world where the preponderance of the participants here understand the idea of right from wrong, the idea of freedom, as I said, the idea that the whole point of going from child to adult used to be, they'd say, you know, one day, Junior, you're going to grow up and you're going to be able to do whatever you want to do, as long as you pay your debts and you keep your hands off people and don't harm anyone. Those days are over, right? According to the collectivized masses. So you can only do what you're told you can do, and you have to consult thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of codes to figure that out, right? So a real new world order would be a reality where we all just woke the fuck up one day and realized that statute, policy, and code is not law. Nobody has a right to put on an outfit like a clown and start telling us all what to do and writing it down and then saying, well, it's got to be real because we wrote it down and signed it. Yeah, all are equal under the law. Another maxim, which means no other man or woman in or out of costume, especially a public servant, can tell me as a man what the fuck to do legitimately. That's called self-governance. That's called responsibility and accountability. That's called what used to be the common law as an ethic, not what it's become. Because if you look it up now, they'll say common law is a body of law where a bunch of clowns made decisions and you study case law, what they call case law, which is just a determination made by a bunch of individuals or collective of individuals, right? It's got nothing to do with law. Law is an objective, inherent ability to use consciousness and awareness to come to an objective understanding of right from wrong, and then at best codify it in these statute policies and codes so we don't forget, because we have a tendency to do that, right? The whole ego pride thing. I'm going to do whatever I want, including causing loss and harm to others, stealing property, lying and cheating and all the rest of it, because I can. You know, okay. I mean, I get what you're saying, but even that, it's pandering, right? I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm just saying this fetishizing of consolidation of power is a problem to me. This Americans have been, yes, the government is a self-government. It starts locally and it branches outward. What we don't need is a bunch of folks inactive on the ground, not governing themselves, don't know right from wrong, fetishizing consolidation of power. Because if it's taught us anything, it's that you can kill anyone at any time and get away with it. We don't need leaders. We need to stop listening to the misleaders and become our own. Well, this is where I was going, and become our own leaders, right? Where we you mean not indoctrinated? Because when again you use these words, other words come to mind to me. Educated to me traditionally, if you ask an average member of society, means they went to school, they got taught how to think, instead of how to think. So most of them don't know how to philosophize, don't know how to use logic, morals, and ethics and interpret law, universal law. So when you say education, to me, it's synonymous with indoctrination, which is based on mentality and repetition. Right. Well, because again, you have to go to the core. See, I'll use their verbiage, right? You got a common core of what education is. And since it's indoctrination, it can only be done on the unintelligible, right? Folks who are not truly intelligent, conscious and aware, conscient, able to use their conscience to decide right from wrong. So true education would be a Renaissance period where over the course of 10, 20, 50, 100 years, and we're seeing it now, by the way, not a theory, this is actually happening. We're seeing people get back to the land, go where there is clean water, clean food, clean air, stop poisoning themselves and their body politic and therefore their children, so that IQs can raise back up room temperature, so we can all become conscious, aware, conscient, able beings who stop destroying ourselves and each other in the name of safety, ironically and interestingly enough. Okay, so it's already underway. It's already happening. The Amish are a perfect example of people who have yet to completely descend into the system to have to claw their way out, but a valid example nonetheless. So we need to start emulating and replicating what's worked, what always has worked, and what will work in the future as the rest of these folks descend into madness and chaos and death affairs, right? So, and again, we're back to that original concept, the Christed spirit versus the anti-Christo, because the Christed spirit is going to start waking up and saying, stop poisoning self and each other, destroying nature, stop with the chemtrails, stop with the poisons in the water, stop with the pharmaceuticals and all the rest of it, right? And the anti-Christo spirit's going to say, we need more pharmaceuticals, we need 10 more vaccines, 1,000 more codes for safety. Yeah, we need smart cities now. We need a chip in everybody's brain. You know the deal. Yeah, we know where we're at. We know what the story is. It's from the beginning of time till the end of time. So yeah, this is a practice more than it is a state of attainment. And that practice comes about, interestingly enough, because again, these things work together. It's a dualistic experience. You can't have one without the other. The Renaissance period usually comes on the back of a dark cycle, right? That's why I talk about the light age, dark age. All right, you're going crazy with sound. You got to turn that off. Yeah. So, yeah, part of the historical experience and context is this Hopi prophecy idea. You've heard it before. Weak men create hard times create strong men create good times, and the cycle moves on. So we're always seemingly in this reality at one part of that cycle. Obviously, where we're at now is weak men have created hards. You got a bunch of Poindexters who look like they blow over in a weak wind, running around in costumes using their pen to run everybody's lives. So that's what's created hard times, right? Through these hard times, you're going to see strong men and women born out of these hard times, and they're going to build and create, as they always do, a prosperous civilization that's going to lead to good times. Prosperous civilization, of course, is founded on universal law, rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, self-government, responsibility, accountability, and rugged entrepreneurial hustler spirit. Excuse me? All the same idea. John Locke is just another incarnation. Chill Show will know him, I'm sure, and all about him. I know some of it. I'm far from a right. Right. John Locke didn't corner the market on these ideas, just as I have it, right? This is any mind that is conscient able that can look and experience and see what's going on and deduce the cause and therefore the effect and therefore the solution, brings forth these certain ideas that have been true from the beginning of time and will be true to the end of time. Okay? So, all right, we got someone else in the back. I'm going to encourage some more callers. You got any final words? We had a great exchange.
People up, and to everybody watching out there, they say they can't hear me, but I'll try my best. Love your country, put America first, and fight back. You always have to fight, and be a believer in Jesus Christ, and eat some Italian food. It's really good. But yeah, God bless you, sir. Italian food's the best. But yeah, God bless you, and yeah, God bless.
All right, thank you, sir. I just realized they told me in chat they couldn't hear the caller, man. That always happens with this system. I get sidetracked on my tab system up there. The caller gets cut off. I can hear him. You guys can't. And then it's almost as if I'm having a conversation with myself. Hey, it happens to the best of us. All right, call in now. Questions, comments?
I say this calls for action, and now, nip it in the bud.
Indoctrination you currently reside with or under. I will. It's the funniest thing ever, right? It's fascinating. I will always appear as the opposite form of whatever you believe you are. So if you believe you're a leftist, I'm a MAGA Republicard. If you believe that you're a MAGA person, I'm a leftard communist. Turns out the joke is on all of us because, again, American values, principles, universal values and principles is never in alignment with the right wing or the left, right? And if it is, it's because one comes before the other, not the other way around. So specifically because I got a lot of folks in here today who came in. I think a lot of them left. About 30 of them checked out once they thought I was talking to myself. The magatards are not going to stick around if they think I'm completely schizophrenic. I get it. These are very sort of, regular, normal, seemingly well-to-do, average people. They go to work every day. They undertake their responsibilities. They want to be good. They want to do good. They think they're on the right side of history. And they go, man, this guy, Paulie boy, he's saying some stuff. We're kind of resonating, but I think he's talking to himself now. We're going to just go, We got more figgy pudding on the stove. Is figgy pudding served hot or cold? Okay, no matter. I keep going back to that. So, yeah, turns out for you MAGA folks who are here today joining us because I triggered you or I baited you with the algo Donnie Trump picture. That's all it takes to get you guys in here. I put up a picture of your daddy, and next thing you know, you're here listening to me. Republicanism at this point, neoconservatism is in fact collectivism, communism, socialism. The way that I always prove that to you folks, it's very simple. Marxism specifically has the idea we're going to abolish private property. Private property is property that has an alloidial title, which essentially means nobody can tell you what to do with it, nor do you have to pay tax on it. So the majority of you folks, your land, your house, you pay tax on it. So you, in fact, don't have technically private property anymore. And that was done through your supposed government, which defines itself as a corporation. And regular taxation, right? Because we know that one of the tenets of socialism or Marxism is the redistribution of wealth. What do you think taxation is? And most of you do it because you think you're forced to. You don't understand that the tax code specifically says that one has an election to pay taxes. You can revoke your election to pay taxes. It's a voluntary act. I and others have engaged in the process. I know many folks who've been contacted by IRS Corporation, had a back and forth. They've since been left alone. No charges have been filed and no tax has been imposed because, again, one has a freedom to contract, especially if one corrects their status and standing on record. One of a 14th Amendment citizen, resident / person to a man or woman of the people. They are not the same. I don't care who or what says that they are. I don't care who or what says that we're just a bunch of crazies over here. I've looked through the code. I've looked through the definitions. I've showed it to you here. It's undeniable at this point, and it's the verbiage in all of their literature that creates the jurisdiction. Jurisdiction just means to speak the law. And if they create the idea of 14th Amendment citizenry and you sign up when you get a job as a withholding agent, that's what it says in small letters at the bottom of that tax form. It says, confirm that I sign with my signature, something along those lines, that I am a withholding agent for United States Corporation. That means you put yourself in a tribunal capacity as a troop, right? A member of an organization like the Army. You know, it's the similar type of situation or structure. Whether it's the Army or a corporation, same idea. You made yourself part of their corporation as an agent, as an employee, and that's why they get the jurisdiction to regulate your affairs, because you are now part of a commercial endeavor or a group endeavor, what they call the unspoken social contract. See, the society is essentially defined as a group of individuals who subscribe to an idea. Politics is that idea. And again, the definition of terrorism from the CIA, FBI is when an individual or a group forces their political ideology on the individual. So by definition, they cannot force anybody to buy in, to vote, to pay the slave tax, or do anything else legitimately. I'm not saying that maybe they don't try it all day, every day, even with people who do the right thing. I'm just saying I and others have seen some results, right? We've seen a light at the end of the tunnel that isn't a train coming, and we've gone to their code, statutes, policies, definitions, the foundation of law, jurisprudence, corpus juris secundum, on and on and on, for these definitions, these understandings, Blackstone's commentary. We have a Curtis here. Curtis, give me the Irish hello, please, so that I know that you're a legitimate person back there. You're not going to do some kind of porning. You know, you want to show me porn, you show it to me privately. We're not going to do it here. Curtis, are you there? Give me something. Peace sign. Wave to me. Turn your camera on. Wave to me. Okay, we're good to go. African-American gentleman, it looks like, as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm originally from Britain. I work as an economist with a BT at the moment. I work in the law division. So I spend half my time in the UK and half my time in New York. I'm in Jamaica at the moment.
Wow, I love that accent. Imagine, I get so much further in life if I just had that accent all the time. Like, who's going to get mad at him? Who's going to lock him up or do something? How do you enslave this guy? I get he's African American. I'm doing this the way you know, right? I'm doing the way you know. Let's say you're 200 years ago and this guy comes moseying along like Django, right? Unchained. And he's got that accent. How are you going to do harm to this guy? He's so you
can see me though, can't you? You can see me, right?
Yeah, I can see you.
Yeah, good. I'm just making sure that you can.
All right, what do you got for us, Curtis? Questions, comments, concerns,
Not
NAACP complaints?
not much. You know what? I started listening. I'm going to be honest. You were making a few incorrect comments in regards to law, but then you straightened up a bit on your position. So I understand you now. I get what you're saying. Yeah, we can get into that if you want. I am a lawyer. We can get into that if you want. But I do understand what you're saying and your point of view. I've never got an issue with someone with their point of view and how they come across. And you're coming across pretty respectful, to be honest. So I'm not going to sit here and say like I've got a massive issue with you, because I don't, mate, to be honest.
So you are, in fact, a licensed attorney?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Googleable license. Just put like my name down there. You can just put it into Google, and you'll see a big picture of me come up with my qualifications.
Now, are you a bar person?
Yeah. So I was So the way in which it works in the UK, I got my qualification in the UK, and then you have to do an additional sort of top up to learn the legislation in regards to the extra bits in the United States. But obviously the United States legal system came from the UK legal system. So in all fairness, it's almost, well, federally, it's almost all the same.
Right, I could agree with that. Now, where do you disagree with me? Because you said you disagree, but then I straightened up. So
it happened so long ago, yeah. It happened so long ago, but I can't even remember the exact point. But since I've been listening to you, most of it's been sort of opinion and views and mindset. So I can't really disagree with any of it. People have their views and people have their opinion. I can't remember what I disagreed with at the time, but you were talking about, what was it?
Oh, let's take it line by line. You stop me where I'm wrong. Just let me continue till I'm wrong, then stop me and correct me as far as what you're understanding.
All right, my man.
So we're now on jolly old England across the pond. Similar system, right? A democratic republic. The only supposed, we'll call them trustees instead of authorities, are in place to upkeep and maintain civilization for the people, right? They're not there to dictate to the people. And of course, they derive these powers, these just powers, through the consent of the governed, which means each and every man and woman has to consent to be a part of the unspoken social contract that these trustees are elected or appointed to upkeep and maintain society and civilization for the benefit of man and woman. That's what makes it a trust, right? It's in God we trust. It's a public trust. These are trustees. We as men and women of the people are the beneficiaries. So they only exist to benefit us. The moment that their activity becomes a detriment to the individual or a group, they are illegitimate in their power base, in their ability to administrate affairs. Any disagreement so far?
Correct. As long as there's intent, actus reus, and there's mens rea involved, yeah, as long as there's intent in what they're doing and not following legislation, then yes. As soon as it becomes unlawful, yes.
Right. So when you say mens rea, my understanding of that would be one of the maxims, which is he who is not guilty in his intentions is not guilty in his action, right? So therefore,
without recklessness, negligence, or abandon. Yeah.
Right. So one could say, and again, I don't want to indict the Queen and all their constabulary.
She's gone.
Oh, good. I don't want to indict her dead body. I don't want to indict the king, the queen, or any of their constabulary with this next statement. But one might say that when the queen and the king and all the rest of these royal folks are in bed with or in meetings with people who openly say we're going to kill about 90% or 80% of the world's population because it's overcrowded, right? And because we got a bunch of useless eaters, we violated that maxim or that ethic of no harm intended, right? It could be said, if that was to be found a link, if we were to find a link between the king and the queen and all their assistants and administration to billionaires, let's say,
with anyone, that's normally correct, with anyone who isn't the king or the queen. It's really weird, but the way in which it works in the UK, the king and the queen or the queen can commit any crime they want to. They're not considered law. So technically, in the UK, they're called a regency. Technically, the king could say tomorrow, he could literally sign it and say murder's legal, and our legal system will change, technically. They don't do that anymore. They still have that right, but our Regency don't get involved in our law. They will never get involved in our law because they don't want a revolt. They don't want anything to happen like it did in France. But technically, they have a legal power to change any law at any time and commit any crime that they want to.
Okay, now, do you believe or understand that there is always a dual jurisdiction on a common law land? There is the legalistic side and the lawful side. So this comes back to this idea of where we get the Magna Carta, where a rabid king or queen could say or do anything, and it will always be legitimate because in a legal society, they're always honorable, no matter what they do or say. Mm-hmm. But on the common law side, where the power is retained with the people, when they cause loss, injury, or harm, or interfere with the rights of the people, they are guilty of tyranny and treason, and then it's off with your head.
The Regency can't be guilty of treason. Treason can only be committed to the Regency, technically. The people won't be happy about it,
right?
The king can't commit treason,
right? And I get that that's what they would like it to be and what they want it to be and what it functions as, but that's not what history shows, and that's not what our history doesn't show.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
right. Because any man or woman, especially in the highest form of service, can commit treason or tyranny if they fail to put the rights and abilities of their constituency above their own. They're in a service position, right? They're not a king or a queen of the people. They're a king or a queen for the people. And the moment that ceases is the moment they go into ill repute, right? And that's when usually, as you put it, historically you have a revolt. And we're seeing the makings and the beginnings of that right now worldwide for the same old reasons, because these people have gotten out of control. They're rabid, they're treasonous, they're tyrannical, they've gone against conscience and natural law, and they're doing harm even to themselves by poisoning the damn sky and the water, right? There's no getting away from what they're doing at this point, right? This is insanity.
It's the problem, because technically the king could go out on the road, he could shoot someone in the head, and the police won't arrest him because of his position. However, people, I don't know, because nowadays, everyone, like this isn't an insult, by the way. Like yourself, everyone has an opinion. They'll say their opinion, but whenever anything sort of tyrannous is committed or anything sort of bad is done, people just have another opinion. At this moment in time, it doesn't seem to be that anyone really wants to fight what they believe in. So I genuinely believe, be it Trump, be it Kamala Harris, they could do anything that they want, and all people would do is just have an opinion at this moment in time. Things have got.
That's corruption, right? It's the essence of corruption. When the populace has all subconsciously and consciously accepted that those in a service position, actually those in power, and can do whatever they want with impunity, that is the essence of corruption, and that's always what happens before a fall of a civilization, a society, the world, depending on how ubiquitous and widespread this is. So yes, corruption is the order of the day. Cowardice is the order of the day. And an inability or unwillingness to do what one knows is true and what's right is the order of the day, right? And that is why we're seeing what we're seeing.
In my heart of hearts, I genuinely do think America is at real risk of just collapse at the moment, of pure collapse, and not even because of a right or the left situation. It's a lack of ability for anyone to come together and fight for what they know is right. Like, at this moment in time, Ford come out with their CEO come out with something interesting the other day. He said that he's worried that car manufacturing in the United States is doomed to fail. China's got more technology, their cars are better, European petrol cars are better at the moment, and they can't compete, is what Ford is saying at this moment in time. Manufacturing is really struggling in the United States at the moment. Grocery prices are higher than ever. And you know what? I wish I could say with Kamala Harris in power, it would have been better, but I don't actually think it would have. Like, I think America's in a state of time. I think Trump's worse, but I don't think it matters at the moment. Whoever's in power, America's pretty done at the moment.
I would say
It's
that's a worldwide dynamic right now. That again, because we've seen an extreme decline in ethics, logic, morality, faith, and this belief that we can all just do whatever we want to do because we can, right? And there's nothing to hold ourselves to as a value or a principle. You're seeing a decline and a decay into corruption worldwide right now. It's very few and far between of those who hold themselves to some kind of value and principle beyond just, hey, whatever I want to do is what I want to do. So, yeah, and you can't honestly believe that any kind of service, quote unquote, power structure is effective if the preponderance of the people who are being served have abandoned their rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, logic, morals, and ethics, right? That's the way that this all happens.
You're right.
The lack of checks and balances, right? So
we've given it up. We've given up. As a people, we've rolled over. We've rolled over, and we've given it up. Like we've given it up, and the amount of time, like what it will take for us to bring ourselves back on keel, will take an incredible amount of of almost force now, isn't it? Of almost force. Like, especially with the UK, you get more than just a Republican and Conservative party. With the US, is a two-party solution. So when both your parties are shit, what can you do?
This is where you've seen the emergence of folks like myself and those who orbit me or orbit the idea. It's not about me, it's about I am that am. This is where you start to see the proliferation of a whole grassroots movement of folks who've been called by the conscience and spirit to engage in their rights with impunity and to say, you know what, I'm done listening to the average rabble slave. I'm done being told what to do by my servants. It's not a rebellion, it's a resolution, right? This isn't a revolution, which means complete circle, it's a resolution.
I have complete faith in you, but how do we make things right? How can we fix that sort of situation? What can we actually do? Like,
you have to be involved. We have to be involved. It's just like you, right? You go to court every day if you're a lawyer, an official lawyer, however you want to put it. We both have the same understanding and perspective and the same experience. It's just you have an official perspective and seat at the table. I'm unofficial, but the idea remains the same. Every man and woman, right? Every man and woman.
But even as a lawyer, what can we do to stop this? Because
you have to zealously.
It's so depressing. There's nothing that can be done.
If you say that, then you're right. If you try something, then you're right. Right, like the old saying: if you say there's nothing that can be done, you're right. If you try to do what's right, then you'll have an effect, and you're right. So it's all about what you have the will to do. Where there's a will, there's a way. So it starts small, right? For someone like you, it starts with actually advocating zealously for your clients and teaching your clients the law and actually giving up business. See, this is the opposite of what got us here. Instead of you making deals with the court and your client and making them feel like they got a break. No, if you don't have the goods, if you don't have the corpus delicti, if you don't have anybody with an actual valid verified claim, then it's dismissal city all day, every day. And you let them know, here's the rules of court. Here's where they need to move a court. Here's how to move forward. And you know what, going forward in your life, sir, I would encourage you to present yourself instead of hiring another man to do it for you. This is where you step into a leadership role and you start to show the average man or woman every single day at court and show the court, this is what is true and what's correct. This is how we have an effect. This is how we uphold the law and rights. And anything less than that is a dereliction of our duty, right?
Right. You're right. But I've just seen so much corruption and like I'm a Republican. I was a Republican, right? Believe it or not, I was a Republican. But some of the court cases that I've seen, because I work for a company called British Telecom. So I work both in the UK and the US. I work as a liaison. A liaison is what they call it, a lawyer liaison. So some of the court cases that I've seen and some of the corruption that I've seen from the highest level of American business, some of it based on Trump's authority. Like, I don't know if you heard anything about Binance.
little rumblings
Binance
here and there.
is a cryptocurrency.
I'm aware of that, yeah.
Right? That whole court case, right, where what I was writing notes and what for my company in regards to make sure that we knew what was going on in the legislation with a team of other people. Trump took so much money from Binance, and they fund Al Qaeda, they fund terrorist groups, right? And Trump took a bribe from themselves and let the judicial system help him out with that bribe.
Well, sir, it's obvious. I don't even need to know the specifics to put the pieces together. It was obvious when they did this whole state of Israel Gaza thing. It all hinged on a terrorist group, and every time their next 5 moves they're going to make hinges on one group. They're fun group because they need the enemy to take the next step, right? We're back to 9/11. We're back to Pearl Harbor. We're back to the banker wars of the early 1900s, 1800s, 1700s. It's the same loop over and over again, right? And throughout every one of those loops, you have handfuls of men and women who stand up, call it for what it is, and teach everyone else what the deal is. And that's what puts them back on their heels, right? See, the reality of it is when you talk like you just talked, you don't know your own power. You don't really know how powerful your voice, your face, your beingness, right? The will inside of you that's connected to God, your conscience, the way that you speak, right? I kind of made a joke with you when you first showed up here, but you just haven't accepted how powerful you can be and be one of those people who goes down in history as an example of what's true and what's right, and put these people back in their place, right? I couldn't give it to you.
In myself, I couldn't physically believe it that their terrorist organization and the United States was essentially working with them financially. And this is an anecdote from myself. I've seen it, right? I've seen it. The administration, I don't know if it was, because I wasn't working on it in the past with Biden's administration. I don't know. They were probably doing the same damn thing. But I've got the proof for what MAGA's been doing. Taking finances from terrorist organizations. Working with terrorist organizations. With Qatar. Murderers. They work with murderers. They take money from murderers. And at the same time, they turn everyone to hate all Muslims whilst taking bribes from them. I've seen it firsthand. And that's why I get so emotional when I talk about MAGA. I'm a Republican, for fuck's sake. I'm a Republican, for fuck's sake. So when I see MAGA taking bribes from the fucking enemy, I don't even know what they're doing with Israel. Right? Because if they're willing to work with Al Qaeda, what are they willing to do in regards to Israel? I don't even know anymore, man. Disgusting.
Again, it's the same. It's the same playbook and disease that pervades all lands and all people. Because again, it's the same solution, the same cause, the same effect, the same solution. The only way they could do what they're doing there is if it works there, like it works here, because everybody turns a blind eye the other way, or calls the people who are standing against it a bunch of terrorists. It's the same old routine, just like they do with me on the supposed homeland. He's a sovereign citizen. What? He's got guns and believes in upholding the law and having rights? That's radical. He must be a terrorist. No, you've got it inverted. Terrorism is defined as a group of beings who push their political ideology on individuals or groups. Some might say that's United States corporation and every other corporation masquerading as a state or a nation pushing a political ideology at the expense of the people who live on that land, right? So again, I'm not advocating for taking up arms. I'm not advocating for overthrowing. This is a non-violent resolution. And the only way it's going to happen is if people in mass stop complying. And we've already seen the results on a local and statewide level where many counties and certain states have amended their code, their process and procedure to update with what the people are doing and not doing because they know it can't continue, right? So we got to make the move first. We have to stop complying and cooperating first. We have to put our asses on the line and get skin in the game. after enough of us, I'm known here. For those who've been here, I've been to jail 6 times in 5 years. I've gotten dismissals on every case. I don't hire attorneys. I don't sign paperwork. I speak for myself as myself. I invoke the maxims of law. I question jurisdiction. I uphold the law of this land, and I've gotten results. That is proof positive. No one can tell me we are not powerful and inspiring and can't have an effect. Now, the question is, where are the other 200 people in this room right now? 2,000 viewers to 5 to 10,000 after the fact. And where are they from every other platform who orbit me, not orbit me specifically, but I'm surrounded by, who talk about this stuff, but don't wear ass in gear and get in the game, right? So again, it's going to happen one man and woman at a time, one interaction at a time, one dismissal at a time, and one lawsuit at a time. Because now my next stage of this, I've had some health issues the last couple of years, but I sued them at court to get compensation, because the only way Mammon and Molech's going to get back in their box is if you hit them in the pocket. So when you have 2,000 people, need is like 2,000 across America who say, I'm out, I'm not complying, I'm giving you the statement of facts, the notice of intent and understanding, a claim of right, this is who I am, what I'm going to do, stay away from me respectfully. If you interfere with my rights, I'm going to sue you after I get dismissals, so don't even try it. Right? And we have to start using this system for what it was meant to be used for. If we don't, this is only going to get worse. And then I argue, spiritually, these people can only go so far. The scripture kind of outlines this, and I don't buy into it because I buy into it because intuitively I've kind of meditated on this, and what I get is that on some level, God, whatever created this place, is allowing this to happen. It's testing all of us. It wants to see who and what we are, what we stand for, what we allow. And then at a certain inopportune point for these people, the hammer's going to be brought down on them. And they're going to start to see, like they have historically, plagues, financial collapses, poisonings. They're going to look around and say, oh my God, what have we done to ourselves and each other and this land? We got to turn from our wicked ways now, right?
You see, you want to know something about myself? I was raised as a Christian, right? Jesus was in my heart, but ever since I was doing some notary work in regards to that Binance case and seeing how far terrorism has sort of invaded the United States, right? I've seen how MAGA use what I used to consider my religion as a tool in order to keep the terrorist actions going in regards to taking the money from AIPAC. That's the one positive that I've got at the moment. I am not against Jewish people. I'm against the fact that their Jewish government is bribing our officials.
Zionists, there's a difference between Jews and Zionists, right? We have to make the differentiation. And of course, religion from the beginning of time has been a tool to keep the masses doing the will of the state, right? That's why it's the merger of state and corporate powers and the merger of what they used to call the cross and the crown, right? So that's what fascism, not as much as historically communism, whatever, but fascism, socialism, these are all interchangeable terms because they all seem to be inhabited by the same consciousness to the same ends, right? There's a little bit different in their function, but all have the same ideas, beliefs, it seems, to an extent, and the same actions, which is most important. So, that's the other side of it, right? We're going to have to get back in alignment with some level of true God or true force, true creator of this universe, and leave behind the false indoctrination presentments, right? State of consciousness and beingness. The state of is a false state of beingness. That's why it's called a state of. It's a state of mind, right? Like you can't actually show it to me. It doesn't actually exist. It exists on paper, and you all believe you're standing on it and that you're a part of it, right? So we have to give up all these false conceptualizations of what is and tune back into what really is, and then go from there, right? And yes, it's going to be throwing off this idea of the state, throwing off this idea of corporations running our lives as a state, throwing off this idea of false dogmatic preachers and religionists telling us what God said because they got a book from a king and it must be infallible. Come on, right? Where are we at here? This is the Renaissance period. You and I are just alive at another period. We're coming to an end of a dark age cycle into a light age, Renaissance period, where people are going to start to use common sense again. They're going to stop buying into frauds and corruption. They're going to start to think for themselves and work locally on the ground with their communities and just opt out and say, and again, that's when God, whoever, whatever runs not only this place, but these systems says, hammer them, see what they're about, and then give them their reprieve. Because you got to be tested here. We don't get to just come here and exist, it seems. This is a proving ground, this place. We will be tested. We will be challenged. We will have our spirit cry out to do and be and have better. And if we don't follow that impulse, right, that premonition, we will be broken. We may be broken anyway, right? But we have to go on the journey. We have to take on the journey and the task, it seems. If not, there's no point in living here. There's no point in being alive here, right? If you have to live in opposition to what your soul cries out for what your conscience reveals is true and right every time. And I've struggled with it lately with these health issues. I go, maybe I just, get the license and not continue to travel a certain way and keep getting arrested and whatever else. I waver with that, because it wears you down. Getting arrested over and over again, having to go to court, even if you get this, it starts to wear on you over the years and the decades. But again, I know that this idea will never die, regardless of what I do, and where I'm active or I'm not. This is an idea whose time has come, and more people are going to be filled with this spirit and this understanding, and they're going to opt out, with the taxation, with all of it. And they're not going to be belligerent and combative, because that's going to get you hemmed up. They're just going to respectfully, honorably declare who and what they are and ask this system to prove itself to them. And that's all the servant needs. I don't care if it's the demon or the servant, is for you to get back in line with who and what you are, who and what we all are, right? And ask of it what is required. You want bondage and rights over me? Show me and tell me where you get a right to do that, right? I'm not fighting you. I'm not overthrowing you. Just point me to what you're using as a delegation of authority to do what you're doing, because 9 out of 10 times it doesn't exist. And whatever they point to is some codification of an original idea that they've twisted and perverted. And it's very easy to show that, right?
It's a hell of a test, though, isn't it? It's a hell of a test we're going through. People are starving. People are losing their lives. People are. I want the best for everyone. That's why I get so emotional. That's why I was like, "Oh, you're not MAGA, are you?" I shouldn't have made that assumption. I'm big enough to apologize when I'm wrong. You're not MAGA. I assumed you were MAGA, so I'm big enough to apologize. Like, that's the first sign of intelligence. You can admit when you were wrong. I shouldn't have assumed you were MAGA. But it's this internal, after everything that I've seen from them, is this internal. I get so emotional when discussing them, because they've ruined my party, man.
Right, but again, part of you going to the next level is you realizing you never had a party, because everybody who's been carrying that banner has been involved in the same activity. And it doesn't matter what you call it. It's what it is, what it does, and what the results are that matters, right? So I don't care if it's George Bush. I don't pick somebody. Pick somebody who called themselves a Republican that wasn't involved in some level of war crime, as we know it, right? As we perceive it. Whether we objectively can say that or not, as we perceive it, as we understand it, isn't involved in backroom deals, doing the lobbying, right? Taking bribes, working with corporations to interfere with the people's rights or to sell them poison. They're guilty. If they're not guilty on all of them, they're guilty of 1 out of 5, right? You can't find one of these people who didn't look the other way and take money, knowingly having a corporation poisoning people when it comes to the water, the food, the air, military industrial complex. Pick one. They're all guilty, right? And the reason they're all guilty is because really the story nobody wants to hear is we're all guilty, because we've all looked the other way. We keep voting for it. You keep saying this is your party and your representatives. You keep saying that they're doing your will while none of us are doing God's will. That's our fucking problem. Right? So
we're all guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. These levels of greed, they accumulate, don't they? They accumulate from person to person to person until it reaches the top. We're all guilty of being greedy in our time at one point or another. And it's all culminated into this horrible system at the moment. Democrats take APAC money too. They're greedy as well. Republicans are greedy too. But we've only got those two options. So it's difficult to work out how to solve
that's the two options the deceiver has put on your plate. That's not your only two options. That's the two options that the deception has given to you and shown you, because it profiteers and continues its power structure off of you choosing from that false choice, right? So Salome and others, I'm seeing a lot of pushback in chat. We're in the algorithm and it's not looking good for a lot of these folks. Click the link, come on up and tell me how and why I'm wrong. You're probably not going to do it because subconsciously, if not consciously, you know I'm right. You don't like that truth, but you know I'm right. And if you come up here and try to prove me wrong, I'm going to take everything you say and I'm going to bring another fact and I'm going to put it back on you and you're not going to have the answer for it.
Drop for now. Sorry, I've taken up a lot of you. I'll drop for now.
I want you here. I can have more than one person. It's up to you. If you want to leave, go. But if not, I'm not telling you to leave. I want you here. I like the fact that you're an official attorney, a lawyer. I like the fact that we are aligning over the truth. And I like the fact that you're giving me talking points to jump off of, right? So what you just said, perfect talking point or idea. We have to choose from left wing or right wing. That is a face. The third choice that they're never, and by the way, I got JD Vance and Donnie Trump over the last 6 months admitting not only is the 14th Amendment for slaves, not for actual citizens and residents.
Prison slaves. Horrible.
They said,
I know this. Slavery is not ended. You've experienced it yourself.
Well, they said that the sovereign citizen mumbo jumbo. I have JD Vance now saying that it's important we all become sovereign citizens. Really? When everyone on the ground, all the cops and all the personnel were talking down on everyone, he explicitly states that we need rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, and we need to have our sovereignty, and even used the term sovereign citizen as a positive term rather than a pejorative.
I'll drop. I'll be in the chat. I'll come up if no one calls for a while. You take this call. I'll be in the chat, my friend.
All right, you subscribe and hang around, man. I want you as a co-host in a sense.
Lots of love to you, man.
Thank you. You as well, Curtis. I appreciate you. 423. Are you there? 423. Are you there? Hello. The Trailer Trash Christmas. I'm here for you. 423-922. I'm not going to give the last 4 digits. Are you there? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Going once, twice. 3 times a lady. All right. The counter's there. We're connected. I'm not hearing anything. So I'm going to have to let you go. So our third option, because Curtis said, and this is a common, again, we're not so different, you and I, no matter who you are out there or up here, wherever we're at, humans are humans. You can't tell the story of any human without telling the story of all humans to an extent. So it's a common cope trope that, hey, we only have these 2 parties to choose from. That's our only choice. That's our only choice as children of the lie and the deception. The third choice that 9 out of 10 times they're not going to put on the plate and give to you is the original foundational principles of law, right? This original idea of logic, morals, and ethics, responsibility and accountability, freedom and rights. Okay, so again, you always know where the true power and value is by what you're not allowed to talk about or what is marginalized. See, you talk responsibility, accountability, rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, logic, morals, and ethics, common sense, right? Maxims of law. They're going to tell you, oh, you're one of them sovereign citizens. See? So just like when they give you a label like conspiracy theorist, they give you a label like sovereign citizen. I don't care what the label is. That's how you know that's where the true power, value, and remedy is, because they give it a term and a word that keeps the majority away from it, so they never look at it and look into it and discover who and what they are and what the truth is. Simple tactic, happens to work. At least most places and most times. 510, are you there? 510-210, are you there? Hello? All right, so it looks like we have somebody who's going to use the automated calling now to try to interfere with what I'm saying, probably because they have kind of a hang up spiritually with who I am and what I'm doing. And again, as I'm saying, look for what you can't talk about or what's marginalized or what they interfere with or they categorize. That's where the power and value is. The spirit is showing up right now in that form, right? See, it's showing up in the form of the disruptor. Okay. 613, are you there? Hello, hello. We're connected. Are you there? Don't be such a coward. If you're going to play these games, come out in the open, show yourself, speak to me directly, put yourself on record. Why are you such a coward? That's the question. See, I'm out in the open. I'm on record 10 ways to Sunday. Folks know me and all the rest of it. They know what I do, and they know that I have success and results, at least to a certain extent. You would think for such a powerful, demonic, and dark spirit, with all of its legions, it would be right out front, be willing to show itself, expose itself, go on record with itself. But that's not the case, because again, another reconciliation and revelation of what this is the dark one and all of its forces and legions are supremely disempowered in the face of God and God's truth. See? Likes to make itself big and powerful and be able to interfere override. But when we get right down to those, time after time, eternally, on a long enough scale, it only has the power that we give it, we allow it to have, right? Okay, so I'm going to hang up on you. If we have to, we'll just shut the phone line down. It's fine. I still have the panel. Folks like Curtis, who had a great conversation with I'm already an hour over. I was just going to do an hour. We did 2.5 already. So we've already done overtime. I'm pleased with the conversation that we had and what we covered. And if I have to, I just turn the phone line off. That's fine. And then we can go back to the panel where you'll have to show yourself who and what you are instead of using the modern day technology to be a disruptor, intervener, and to play games. I got to thank a couple people. Alan Vance says, great seeing you back. Prayers would do, sir, always. Thank you, Mr. Vance, for your contribution. And these are non-taxable events from extended friends and family. That's Uncle Alan Vance, as far as I'm concerned. Julian Barbary says, he writes rather, peace and blessings, Paul. Same to you, Mr. Barbary. Cousin Julian. I have such a huge family and so many friends who like to gift because they resonate and align with what's inspirational, what's powerful, what's motivational. Oftentimes, it's even hard for me to keep track of them. Is this a friend? Is this family? What's the difference ultimately, right? The one truth, the one life, the one way is what really binds us all together, and or the deception, right? It can be either or. We're back to that Christo, anti-Christo idea. One or the other is what binds us all together, it seems. I wasn't such a simp. I've got things I could tell you guys. Well, Curtis, man, you're here now. We've met, right? The stars have aligned. We've crossed paths. I'm sure I'll be back again. I was on here 7 days a week, over 1,000 days straight at one point. Now I took about a 1.5 break. This is my second broadcast within a week and a half. So I'm sure I'll be back with some level of regularity. You're always free to stop by, and you're definitely free to question, to challenge, to test, to disagree, right? That's part of the interaction. Don't be such a simp as you. I don't know if he means simping for me, MAGA, who I'm not quite sure what he means. Lana in the back, I see you. Can I have a hand sign? Can you wave? Can you show me that you're an actual person behind the camera? Because folks sometimes like then they turn their camera on and then the camera is connected to a video and the video is, let's just say, an adult video because they like to get the stream taken down. So here, you know what? We'll do this. We'll bring in, this is appropriate for the times that we live in. Where is it? Is my banner up? See, I'm lagging over here. It's not good. Not good. Nobody knows more about banners than I do, but this is not good. Lana, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Questions,
Hello?
comments, concerns? Yes, Lana.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix my camera
All right.
because yeah, I look bad right now.
Okay. So what do you
Is
got?
there
We'll
anybody?
talk. What now?
Yeah.
What a shithole banner. What's wrong with this banner? 'Tis the season, right?
Wait, is that you?
Yeah, that's me. I figured, the collectivists will receive me better
You look
if
young.
if I show up in a way that they're used to, right? So like Charlie Kirk, Nick Fuentes, all the rest of them, if I show up as an Israeli operative, they're more likely to receive me in a warm embrace than when I show up with rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith. So I'm hacking into their mind programming again, my own way.
Wait, so you met him before?
Who?
Nick Fuentes.
No, I've never met any of these people. I quite frankly don't want to. I don't see there any reason to. They don't have any actual effect on anything that is tangible or that matters as far as I'm concerned, right? They're just talking heads and mouthpieces.
Yeah, I was just confused. I heard Nick Fuentes are like, oh shoot, this guy knows him. Yeah.
All right, so what do you got, man? Questions, comments, concerns, narratives?
Well,
What's the deal?
No, I'll just let you go. I mean, I'm gonna stay here, but I thought there's more people. Like we're all gonna have a conversation about the prompt, but I'm just trying to fix my camera, so I guess I'll just sit down and just be a good little listener. I guess I don't know.
Okay, well, I mean, you came up. If you have something to say, now's the time. If not, I'm going to put you to the back and, yeah.
Well,
wait for me at some point if you got something.
Weapon.
I'm going to put you off the stage in the back because I'm going to err on the side of caution. What do you? Oh, okay. So yeah, you are a porn bomber, right? Come on, dude. Think that I don't know what you got? He just undid his camera and he doesn't realize he's seen on stage, and he's showing pictures of adult films, right? So again, I'm a pretty perceptive being. I'm pretty decent at reading energy and kind of picking up on what's going on at certain times and places, not only in the world and of it, but on stage here, right? So your name is Lana, right? Then you come up and then I kind of cajole you and then you reveal your voice is that of a man. Then I ask you what you got. And in pure fashion, like a collectivist slave, you think on your feet. You can't even come up with a lie or anything to entice me to bring you up, right? So I bring you up with only audio and no video. And then you can't even figure out anything to say. And then you go ahead and reveal yourself. You got women blowing guys on the video there, and you were going to put that up on the screen if I would have let you up, right? But you didn't, because you can't, because I knew what was coming, right? So thank you for playing. You got to boost your IQ a little bit, right? In order to get one over on me. It's happened. There's been a few times in over 3,000, however many broadcasts, 2,000 broadcasts, maybe one or two times where I didn't err on the side of caution. I just let people up and they got me. But yeah, you're going to have to get up pretty early in the morning to put one over on me, pal. You know, you're about 10 vaccines deep. You vote for Masters. You think code is law. You're not going to be able to trick me. See, I trick you. You don't trick me. That's how that works. Just be thankful that I didn't decide to go into government organization, because I'd have been one of the people tricking you into your own slavery and genocide and making a pretty penny off of it because you're so manipulatable, suggestible, ignorant, and foolish. But thank you for being here, sir. I hope that you get what you need in your life. God bless you. Mimi writes, much love, Paul, peace, and blessings. Thank you, Mimi. It's very generous of you. So with that said, we have the Gorilla Season. Anybody can get it shirts on their way out. At least half of them, or close to half of them at this point. More on the way. I'll be periodically contacting folks who are the contributors to this broadcast. The most regular contributors to this broadcast are getting something back for their time, energy, attention, trouble, and value. Gratis on the house, right? Weren't expecting this. This is my gift to you for coming. So we've already contacted handfuls of people. I'll keep doing that over the week. If you're a little bit Fuentes or Carlson or one of these, give me a P.O. box or another address where you can have it sent, right? I promise that I'm not directly going to have any black helicopters or any agents house to kick your door in and get you on whatever code you're not following, right? I have no interest in that, nor do I have connections to that. Now, if somebody watching me gets a hold of you because they're already surveilling me, that's not on me. You know, I'm giving you the proviso now. If my one special federal agent who I know and love, I don't know him, but I'm sure he's out there. Right? I'm just like a lot of you folks. Because usually when you do what I do and you're working with a whole bunch of people and you're on record and on the radar, someone's watching, someone's keeping tabs. And we know because one example of that is the Welsh people from Wales, right? The ex-government agents who do a broadcast, they got wind of me and they went and pulled up all of my record of every interaction I've ever had with a cop, and it was written up by a federal agent. And part of the reason that happened is because I called the FBI myself. I actually have reported with the FBI multiple times when it comes to state and local governments doing corruption, forcing contracts and securities on the people and attempting to hold people for ransom, right? Imprisoned without conviction, innocent till proven guilty. Just last week, I gave a tip to the Justice Department about a local official who believes that they're a judge, some kind of administrator over here, who put one of my friends in a box for 8 days without any conviction, held him on bail conditions without any of the bail conditions being met. He wasn't a flight risk. He had no criminal record. And the administrator said, quote, I'm going to set your bail so high that you'll be motivated to make more money the next time you get arrested. That is judicial misconduct. There's no other way to see it. So yes, I'm going to report you to the Judicial Council. Yes, I'm going to report you to Justice Department. Yes, I'm going to make claims with the FBI, CIA, Secretary of State, Attorney General, and pretty much anyone else who will listen to get you all on record, right? So I'm sure in the course of my duties and obligations or within my rights, I put myself on a record with a fair bit of intelligentsia, let's say, right? So I wouldn't be surprised, especially after, like I said, those ex-government agents from Wales came out with a stack of paperwork, and I said, who the fuck did all this reporting on me and everything I've ever done? And they went and revealed that it was, in fact, a federal agency. So it is a very good chance that that's why I keep getting dismissals at court, and the cops jump on the phone and go, how is this happening? Why is this happening? Because I'm on record with them now, and they're probably keeping tabs on all of at least my official proceedings and procedures. And they're stepping in when necessary to let these people know you don't have a right to do what you're doing concerning because I'm on the record now. And I encourage anyone else who believes as I believe and see as I see to do the same thing, right? We can't run, we can't hide, at this point, modern day technology, watching and listening is happening, records are being kept, there's no point in denying it. You'd rather use it to your advantage, right? So we come out in the open, we create record, we put everybody else on record for their crimes and their dereliction of duty. And we gamble a little bit. We see where that goes. Because believe it or not, I am a dreamer, and I have this dream, like Martin King, that there are, in fact, white hats. A lot of the MAGA anus folks like to say the white hats. I really do believe there are some white hats in government. When DHS famously interviewed me, it's famous to me, maybe not to everyone else in the world, of course. I haven't achieved that status, presuming I ever will, presuming it's an achievement. DHS came in, Department of Homeland Security, and, during a state case interrogation, and they told me, we're watching you. We watch your YouTube. Actually, we kind of agree with you. We just want to know what you're doing with all these guns and body armor and thousands of rounds and all the rest of it. And I said, well, what are you guys doing with all your guns and body armor and thousands of rounds? And they said, well, we're just keeping everyone safe. And I said, exactly. Okay. Because the state patrol took all that equipment, that property, and tried to stack it up in the corner along with a bunch of reefer and say, this boy is a terrorist sovereign citizen and he's got masks, right? They took a sheep mask. I did a whole broadcast on this at one point. They took a sheep mask, because my buddy and I, we both had multiple guns in 2 different cars. No plates, no license, no nothing else. Thousands of rounds, body armor. We were moving all of our property from one state to another, where we are domiciled, as some have said. And we both each had a sheep mask, full face sheep mask in each one of our cars. So they took all this property, stacked it up in the corner, put the mask there and said, we believe these boys were going to go on a mass shooting because they're sovereign citizen terrorists. And I had to break the news to them. It's not as exciting as you want it to be. I wish I could report to you that it was more exciting, but it just happened to be those sheet masks were in the car because we had them for COVID-19. And part of our bit we were doing at the time, this is before even the YouTube channel, we didn't even put this on record. We were just doing it because we're two fucking assholes. We would go into stores, they would require a mask, and we'd put on the sheet mask. We'd walk around and bah, and, you know, have a good old time, right? Trying to turn what seemed to be a tragedy, a test the challenge, into a humorous event. You know, try to make light with it, try to cope about it, right? But so yeah, you know, at a certain point when you do this and you stand for something, you're going to have to go on record with everybody. And that isn't necessarily a negative or a bad thing. That can be a positive thing because now they know who and what I am. They know I'm not dangerous. I'm not violent. I'm not trying to overthrow anything. I'm not even encourage anyone else to do anything. You know, at best or at worst, I'm saying, and again, they say they agree with me and I could see how they would agree with me, right? These are guys who came in, big burly guys, you know, body armor, big beard, you know, probably Republicans in name only, I'm sure, but, you know, believing they're Republicans and conservatives. And I just laid it all out to them. Boys, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is why I believe it's important. And I think you guys should do the same. They didn't disagree with me. And I bet you there's a whole slew of folks working at the CIA, FBI, even at your police department. There's some, even if they're unspoken, right? They may be in the background, but they don't like the way this country's going. They don't like the tyranny and the treason. They don't like the slavery. They don't like the genocide and the 11 shots for safety. They didn't sign up to put on that uniform and swear to the Constitution to be a part of this crap. And they're kind of trying to wonder and figure out where they go from here, right? I've talked to them specifically. I've had cops off the record tell me, we didn't sign up for this. We didn't know this was going to go here. You're absolutely right. And now we just need to figure out what we're going to do. Just like that man who says he's a legal attorney who was just here, right? There's plenty of folks inside, behind the walls, right? Inside the system who are shocked and appalled. Appalled is with a U, right? Because we're Paul unshaved here today. They don't like where it's going. They want it to change. And they're just trying to figure out how that's going to happen and what their role is going to be. Your hair is just super flat. Well, yeah, it's because I comb it. Comb it. Do you want me to come on here with wild hair? I comb it. It's like the guy said earlier, it's a Middle Ages haircut. It's what someone in the chat said, Middle Age looking ass. One of the black people got on me. You know, they're clowning me for my middle-aged looking haircut. But hey, I'm European, I'm Irish and Italian. You know, when I grow my hair out, this is what it looks like when I comb it. And it harkens back, right, to an earlier time, to antiquity. You know, it's like Maximus in the arena, right? It's the old Caesar, as they would call it on the East Coast. Okay, we got a Tony. Maybe it's Tony Hinchcliffe, and I'll get my big break. I may have to blow him, though, and it might be unsightly. You guys might have to look away. What up, Paul? Merry Christmas chat. Born in America, but says he's Irish and Italian. I meant ethnically, ethnicity-wise. Of course, I'm a Native American because I'm born on this land. But ethnically, how my genetics express are one of an Irish Italian. Thank you for correcting that record. This broadcast bangs. All right, not only does my hair bang, this bro bangs, and much like the Ricky Martin song, she bangs. I don't know what that means. Tony, are you there? Hello, Tony. Tony, are you there?
Hi.
Oh, it's Tony. That's that Tony.
Hello?
Tony. Yeah, what's that? What's the name again that you go by? Tony, oh man, the family name escapes me. What's up, Tony? What do you got for me? Questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, I wanted to get your view. How many rich and powerful get away with crimes in the judicial system?
Oh, we already went over that, Tony. It's because the majority are so listless and cowardly, they can barely put two words together in a sentence or summon the will to stand for what's true and what's right, or question any kind of jurisdiction, proper process and procedure, that it's like a tennis game where nobody shows up on the other side. They just keep spiking the ball, right? You know, they keep acing it. I guess spiking it would be volleyball, right? But that's all you have to picture. Court is like a tennis court. And of course, if nobody shows up on the other side and I just keep serving it and ball and nobody ever returns it, I'm going to keep winning. It's going to be that easy, right?
DDK to get 40 years, but he got 11.
Say again? You're breaking up, man. You may have to fix your equipment.
The P. Diddy case where he was supposed to get 40 years, but... Hello?
Yeah, you're breaking up. Something about P. Diddy. Hopefully you didn't appear at one of his parties. He didn't get a hold of you, did he? Yeah. P. Diddy didn't get a hold of you, did he?
Well, no. No, but I was mentioning that P. Diddy got 11 years, and he was supposed to get 50. You know?
Right. Well, that's because he has a lot of money. And as the average slave will tell you in this life, if you have more money, it's that much easier to buy everyone off, including your counsel, who will go up there and fervently advocate for you and question everything and get things reduced, right? The more questions you ask, the more you force them to prove their allegations, the more you hold them to certain standards, the less likely you are to get convicted.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know if he... What happened?
Money talks. That's the bottom line for that one. Hello?
And I was also going to bring up, in 2008, they were looking at Jeffrey Epstein's case, and they already knew what he was doing, but he got away with it, you know?
Well, yeah, because the speculation goes that Jeffrey Epstein was in fact an Israeli operative who, by that point, had gotten a large contingency of public officials in his pocket by taking them to the island and getting them on camera doing things that they'd rather not have other people know they were doing. Bribery, right? Bribery goes away. That's allegedly. I can't confirm or deny that. Yeah. I got to thank Louis Bastone, man. 1 second, sir. Louis Bastone for one unsliced pepperoni warmed to 99% dipped in lard for you to insert into your ass. Thank you. These are my fans, by the way. These are supporters. I always have to remind myself of that. Thank you, Louis. We love you. And by the way, I'm on the Louis Bastone diet now. Cheese, eggs, and potentially even a little bit of fish, right? I've been wavering on some of my supposed principles and values because Louis convinced me my diet is what's destroying me. Eating nothing but vegetables for over a year straight. At one point, a lot of carbs, though, right? So I think it was the carbs and sugar. He says it's the vegetables as well. So I've gone full Bastone diet to get him off my back because he's emailing me every night. He's telling me I'm a fat pig. I'm destroying myself, but he loves me. He's a lot like God. Yeah, Lou's a lot like God. He's going to condemn you for your sins, put you in hell, burn you forever, but he loves you, you know? So I'm taking his advice to see what happens. See if I get some remedy there.
Are you a Christian?
I self-identify as a Christian just because I believe that if we were to follow Jesus, he or it, the spirit behind it, wouldn't ask us to label ourselves something other than just a man under God walking in the way. So I don't go by any official terminology, right? I don't classify myself. I let other people do that for me.
I was just confused.
No, I get that. I mean,
because I saw on YouTube, I was just scrolling and I saw the Star of David on the thing, and I was assuming, oh, he's Jewish, but I
Well,
don't
that's
know.
how I get you guys in here, right? If I want to get magatards in here to tell me all about Donnie so I can reveal legal lawful to them and what our rights are in America and principles and all that, I got to give them something
Well,
they're used to, right? And they
no,
love that Star of
I was
David.
just assuming you're Jewish. I didn't know.
No. That's another ruse, man. I'm a mercurial beast here. I play a lot of tricks at times, right? I have a mischievous aspect to me. You know, much like the Luciferian controllers, some might call them masters. I have a mischievous aspect to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll use the dark side of the force at times, or a lesser light to draw people in, you know, to get them
I
engaged.
have a question.
Well, I love how that voice is changing as we go along, too, by the way. Christian D says, Happy Holy Days. And of course, that's Emmanuel. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. Very generous. The same for Sherry C. Yeah, 1 second, sir. We'll get there. Are you sir or ma'am? Or I don't want to misgender you.
My pronouns are they, them.
They, them. Okay. Well, Mr. They, them. Wait, that's not how that works.
But I don't mind. You call
you don't
me.
Mind? Okay. So, yeah, sir, I'll be right there with you. Sherry C says, for all the value and you give freely, for all the value you give freely, peace. Well, thank you. And of course, contributions where folks get value, right? If you got some value from this broadcast and you want to engage, you want to stick it to the man, non-taxable event. Gifting is a non-taxable event. There are links up top. And of course, there's an email up there, right? So if you want to contribute and support in a different way, feel free to send me pictures as a Jew. This comes from the audience, me as a Jew. Right? Send me some videos, clips,
Who made it?
News articles, legal lawful stuff, songs you've written. We're open for all that here, and we'll play it. We'll showcase it on the broadcast, right? This audience participation encouraged. All right, what do you got for me, Tony? Give me some final questions, comments, concerns, and then I think I'm going to put you to the back, and I'm going to move forward here. I think I'm going to wrap up toward the third hour.
Yeah, my final question, because I've been hearing a lot of debates on this. What is your view on Christmas? Is it a pagan holiday or is it a good holiday? Or like what do you what do you think about it, Christmas?
I wouldn't say that it's good or bad, but yes, it does seem to be another deception. I could put forth an argument that there are a lot of holidays that correlate with the 7 deadly sins. Valentine's Day would be lust. Thanksgiving would be gluttony. Christmas would be greed. I could go on here, right? So I could take the approach that if this
Valentine's is what?
Lust.
Is love, right?
Lust. Love, as far as I know, is not a 7 deadly sin.
I thought you said lust.
Yeah, that's what I said, lust.
No, lust. L-U-S.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that as much as we think that Valentine's Day would be associated. Hold on, I got a call here. I don't know if you hear that. My phone's ringing. It could go that way if I wanted to. I can make a case for that. 903, are you there?
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm here.
You're all right. Oh, hey, I'm going to take this call. Yeah, I'm going to take this call, Tony, all right? 903, give me 1 second.
I'm going to mute my mic.
Yeah, I'm going to put you in the back. I don't know, Tony, I want to believe that he's the real deal. I want to believe he's here for the whole thing, but I'm getting a vibe from him that he's going to spring something on me. 903, there?
Hello.
Yeah, questions, comments, concerns, 1013 WSLV, your home for all things slavery, genocide, sovereign citizen related. Go.
Hey.
Yeah.
You talking to me, dude?
Absolutely. You're on.
Okay, cool. Yeah. No, I think Tony did a pretty good job. Guess I could see him being your permanent sidekick, you know?
Who, Tony, right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got something. The kid's got moxie.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about being unique in my anyway. No, I was just probably, I haven't really checked the show out a whole lot, just in passing, and but what's the purpose of the they were making you out to be what, an ascetic Jew or something? Or I don't get that.
Yeah, I like to trigger sometimes and play games and be a little bit mischievous and
I got you.
so yeah, like I said, I've explained it a couple times. This thing really gets people hung up, this whole Jew thing. So,
no, I mean, I was just curious. I thought you were. I didn't care if you were Jewish, and it didn't bother me.
yeah, I'm gonna level with you. It's not actually in a hat and rabbi outfit. It's photoshopped, right?
That's
so
what I caught that.
Yeah, somebody sent that into me as a thumbnail, and I used it from time to time as a banner so that people can't porn bomb me, and it's triggering and it makes people wonder and ask questions, and here we are, right?
Sure, there you go. No, it's thought provoking. So your stance on, like, right now with what's going on in Gaza, do you accredit Trump with what's currently going on, or how do you see it?
Yeah, it's pretty simple, man. We've done this a dozen times, right? I'll bring up the list of all the nations that don't have a Rothschild central bank. Coincidentally, all of those 12 nations will coincide with all the nations we're at war with, right? I don't believe in coincidence. So these are banker wars because they're trying to gain control over these regions to institute centralized banking, to bring the world into a new world order, digitized banking system. In order to do that, they got about a dozen or more nations that need to comply, right? So whether it's Iran, Iraq, Libya, Syria at one point, we could just go down the list. Most, if not all of them, are strategic locations to overtake, to install this banking system. So how do we do that, right? And again, here, I got a good clip for you, actually. After I give you this explanation, I'm going to bring up an Israeli lobbyist. His name is Clausen. And over 5 years ago, he stood up and gave the speech I'm going to play for you. It's less than 2 minutes. He actually says, all of our wars, some might say, are based on the interest of United States. And we know that's self-defined as a corporation. He goes on to say that we either let these attacks happen or make them happen in order to go to a war that we already want to go to. So similar to 9/11, as some have shown and put forth, this idea that we have certain nations we want to get into, take control over, and indoctrinate them and turn them over to a centralized banking system and a system of being ruled by centralized military and powers, right? WHO, NIH, CC, all examples of the same idea. And the only way we can do that is if we fund certain groups, and by we, I mean they, fund certain groups to attack other groups to create this perception of a threat in order to do war and take over and then get their way, right? So let me give you that. Again, this is Israeli lobbyist Clausen talking to presumably members of both governments over 15 years ago, saying, we can't see how we're going to get to war with Iran, but we want to. And maybe we just he kind of says, some might say this is veiled language, but at a certain point he comes right in the open. He says, maybe we just have a submarine go down and not come up, right? Who would know what would happen? And then we could get to war with Iran. So let me play it for you. You tell me what you make of this and how it corresponds with everything else.
Okay.
I frankly think that crisis initiation is really tough. And it's very hard for me to see how the United States
I don't hear anything.
President can get us to war with Iran.
Okay, I forget. When you're on the phone line, you can't hear what's on stage. So you're going to have to, you're going to have to mute up so I don't hear you and the playback.
Okay.
And you're going to have to listen through the YouTube, right?
Gotcha.
Pain in the ass, but I'm doing the best I got with what they give me. So yeah, go ahead and mute up for me just so I don't hear the playback on my end, and then unmute when the video finishes and then watch it through the YouTube feed.
I frankly think that crisis initiation is really tough. And it's very hard for me to see how the United States President can get us to war with Iran. Which leads me to conclude that if, in fact, compromise is not coming, that the traditional way of America gets to war is what would be best for U.S. interests. Some people might think that Mr. Roosevelt wanted to get us into World War II, as David mentioned. You may recall we had to wait for Pearl Harbor. Some people might think Mr. Wilson wanted to get us into World War I. You may recall he had to wait for the Lusitania episode. Some people might think that Mr. Johnson wanted to send troops to Vietnam. You may recall we had to wait for the Gulf of Tonkin episode. We didn't go to war with Spain until the until the Maine exploded. And may I point out that Mr. Lincoln did not feel he could call out the Federal Army until Fort Sumter was attacked, which is why he ordered the commander at Fort Sumter to do exactly that thing which the South Carolinians had said would cause an attack. So if, in fact, the Iranians aren't going to compromise, it would be best if somebody else started the war. One can combine other means of pressure with sanctions. I mentioned that explosion on August 17th. We could step up the pressure. I mean, look, people, Iranian submarines periodically go down. Someday one of them might not come up. Who would know why? We can do a variety of things if we wish to increase the pressure. I'm not advocating that, but I'm just suggesting that this is not a either-or proposition. It's just sanctions has to succeed or other things. We are in the game of using covert means against the Iranians. We could get nastier at that.
Right, so he spells it out. He couldn't be more open and direct about it. Crisis initiation's kind of tough. How do we get to war with Iran? Then he talks about the Gulf of Tonkin, Pearl Harbor, same deal. 9/11, the towers. It's all the same playbook over and over again. You can go back to the beginning of time in the scripture. They did the same activities, attacking, bringing down walls, doing certain activities to get everybody into conflict, to initiate crisis, to make themselves a victim, to create an enemy, to go and take over without them looking like they're doing expansionism and imperialism, right? So simple playbook happens to work.
Okay, I got you. And I understand what you're saying, and I'm not saying I disagree totally, but this is why I think makes it a little bit different, okay? I get everything you're saying about the Rothschilds and all that, and I've got a lot of belief in what you're saying. The reason I think this is a little bit different is economics, and here's why. First of all, I think wholeheartedly the Israelis do have, they have had a problem. Everybody's had a problem since the 70s with Iran. Not just, there's been serious conflict. It has nothing to do with banking, and that's just their what they do in the region. And this goes back thousands of years. You know better than I do, Shia and Sunni. The Saudis, for example, they have completely changed their whole thing. I don't know if you talk to anybody that's been to Saudi Arabia in the last 5 years. Dude, it's like the choice place to go. I mean, it's like you can eat off the freaking streets. I've got some good friends that went, and I was just amazed. And of course, I didn't go personally, but they started. I said, "You can't do that there. You can't drink." You can't. Oh yeah, you can. I thought, wow. And it's becoming this tourist. My point is the prince there, like him, but we don't like everything they do, of course. But it's coming down to economics. And bottom line is he wants, for economics reasons, he doesn't want to have to deal with the Iranians. Trump, what he's done, in my opinion, was said he's put them on hold. And the people that are in Gaza, I get where people are coming from, but at the same time, here's the thing, man. What would we do? What would we do? Because in 2016, you know as well as I do, there was Israelis do. They did a land for peace. We're going to deoccupy. It's you. It's on you. They still provided them with water and electricity. Millions of dollars are coming in under the table. The infrastructure doesn't get approved. They choose to put Hamas but you ever talk to somebody that's actually lived in Gaza? Like the dude said, he goes, man, there's 5 factions over there fighting. If it wasn't them, somebody else, they would still be fighting. And there's, they haven't had a centralized leadership that's worth the shit. Okay, cool. But what they did to the Israelis, and they hadn't been occupying them since 2016, how do they pay them back? They kill 1,200. That's like killing 40,000 Americans.
Sure. We're 3 or 4 moves down the line here. We got to go back to 1947. A year after they created in 1946, they created the state of Israel or about the state of Palestine. So this is a long engineered. We have back to the 1880s, Albert Pike, head of World Freemasonry, declaring that Lucifer was the god of Freemasonry, and that they would create 3 world wars to bring in a new world order and a one world religion. This is not all by happenstance. This is not economical. Most things in this life are spiritual ever before they become physical. And economics is an offshoot of physicality. So they created the state of Israel. They populated it with a bunch of people who would be at odds with the people there. They manufactured dissent and conflict in order to, over a long enough time, bring in another imperializing force and create another world war, to do economic depression, to get the people in a position to accept a rollout of a one world religion, economic system, currency, and centralized authoritarian system. So
I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying that there's not a lot of
it's like saying, you know, I'm a Crip and I went over to Blood's neighborhood and I decided now I'm going to set up shop in the Blood's neighborhood. And then when they attack me, predictably, I'm going to say, well, I just got to defend myself. The first question would be, why did you come over here to begin with?
Dude, you have to understand something. This is where there's a fundamentally difference.
I won't deny the idea of attacks on the state of Israel or its allies to an extent. I believe it's way overblown, and I believe that it's a minor aspect of the whole that's being overblown for the predictable ends, right? So I'm not buying into this whole the state of Israel and everybody who's there is just a victim by happenstance. They have no business being there. They're not from there. They're trying to carve out a place there, and now they're taking over the place. Okay, okay,
hold on a second. Can I make one point?
They're doing it on the back of 5 other banker wars concerning the United States corporation, where they went into places where the terrorists weren't from. They claim the terrorists are from here. They went to 4 or 5 other places to take over because they want a foothold in the Middle East so they can do expansionism and imperialism. And the only thing that's threatening them is the major power in the area, which is Iran, and it believes it has its own sovereignty and can do whatever it wants, just like United States Corporation believes that. And I got to tell you, sir, America, you could argue, is one of, if not the greatest countries in the world, because America was great for its principles. We've lost that or are losing that. And quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned, Iran hasn't been going around the world starting wars with everybody for expansionism and imperialism. The United States Corporation has. And they're going to war with Venezuela, okay? So at a certain point, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's either a duck or a guy in a really good duck suit. So
right, and I understand what you're saying. The point I'm trying to make is fundamentally you're wrong in this aspect. What was, you call it Palestine? It was Judea. That was the name.
I'm not interested in what it was. No, I'm not interested in. I get that. I will concede that. I don't even agree with you, but I'll concede that.
See, I let you talk, but you won't let me respond.
Go ahead.
I thought we were going to have a respectful
dialogue. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, the land historically, if you believe in the Bible, then that land historically has been given to the Jews before you and I or anybody else have anything to say in it. Period. The name Palestine comes from when the Romans conquered Judea, and they outlawed everything that had to do with Judaism. You could not practice Judaism. If you were a Jew, you wasn't doing that shit when the Romans occupied them. Period. Okay? Now, fast forward, there are no Palestinians. It's a made up people. There are literally Arabs. Arabs were nomadic historically, even going up to World War I. You had tribes. You had people moving around. Really, the truth is the people in Palestine, you don't really see them moving in until after between World War I and World War II. And the only reason they're doing that is they mostly were exiled from Jordan. That's a fact. So to say they have this historical right to the land and the Jews just showed up. No, the Jews were already there, dog. They just got expanded. And that's why the UN set in and said, not for some banking reason, they said, hey, these people, the Holocaust, everything, this historically is their land. We believe it. We're not going to deny it. Boom. It's only they weren't given shit. They were helped to realize what was already theirs. Now, displacement of people, I'm not cool with. If there was people living there, the Israelis are the only government that you can be somebody practicing Islam. And they have actual people in their government. They actually have judges that are Muslims. They're the only ones that have a pride parade. They're the only democracy. I get what you're saying overall, but here's the reason it doesn't hold true in this sense. We're past that. There's the Iranians have been the biggest thorn in the ass of the world, and yes, they've expanded. Dude, they're in every country in the Middle East trying to do what? Trying to basically say, hey, you convert, or if you're not practicing Islam, then what are you? You can convert or you can die. Period.
Sir, I can only talk on what I know. I think it's best if we all bring these conversations back to what we've actually experienced and know. I can't confirm anything that I've heard or seen, whether it's through history or on the TV. Don't know it to be a fact. Right. I can tell you what I've been told, but what good is that? So the bottom line is, I don't have any Iranians ever coming for me. I don't have Iranians stopping me on my homeland and interfering with my rights and my values. I don't have any Iranians telling me that I have to pay them.
They've had terrorist cells here. They just tried to kill an Iranian woman that's been here exiled from Iran. And
Sir, that may be true. I'm telling you who is a constant thorn in the side of me and everyone else I know, and it's United States Corporation to an extent, and their drastic overreach and interference with the individual's rights and principles of government as we understand it, the law of the land, right?
You believe in the Monroe Doctrine. You believe in the Monroe Doctrine.
It's not about what I believe in. It's about what my experience shows.
Okay. No, I'm saying as
I
an
don't
American,
know anyone who can honestly say that Iran is the biggest problem for America right now. What I do know is I thought we were going to talk. I thought we were going to talk and go back and forth, sir.
Do we have Christians in the Middle East?
I'm not. You're me in the discussion over there. I'm keeping it local and within the purview of my experience to avoid not speaking on something I can't confirm.
Do you want peace in the Middle East?
Quite frankly, I'm not interested in what two nations and or groups of people choose to do with themselves and each other.
As long as interested in peace in the Middle East, and for the first time through economic reasons and
why are we focused on a place that we've never been and have no idea what's going on there, rather than what
we have been there, dude? There's a lot of people that have been to Israel.
I haven't been there. I don't live there.
Well,
I don't know anyone.
You're not the only person.
That's fine. Then you and everyone else, I'm anti-Semitic. You just showed me that you're a propagandist. There's 13 types of Semitic people. Don't keep talking over me if you don't want me to do it to you, because I have obviously an ability to do it better here. So
go ahead.
You can't call me anti-Semitic without showing your propagandized feathers. There are 13 types of Semitic people. You can't even call it what it is. If you want to propagandize me, I'll teach you how to do it better. Call me anti-Israeli. I'm not that either. But when you use the term anti-Semitic, you're showing that the government has its hand up your ass like a pup, because there are 13 types of Semitic people, including the Arabs.
Dude,
so if I was anti-Semitic, I'd be anti-everyone in that.
Do you think the Israelis have a right to exist? Period.
When did I say they didn't? This is pure propaganda. I never told you to a river to the sea.
You say they have no right to be there.
I don't believe that they have a legitimate right to be there. They were installed there by powers that be that engineered World War II and declared 150 years before what they were going to do. I don't support it.
They're 2,000 years before that. And
that's fine. That's equivalent to saying the Mexicans should ride over the border and take back California all the way up to Kansas because the Louisiana Purchase or whatever it was, was there and then it wasn't. We took over and then we didn't. We're here now.
Well, guess what?
Everything's established the way that it is. We're here now.
If you can't keep it, it was never yours.
They brought a bunch of people who were living in Germany to the Middle East and said, "This is where you're."
They had refugees that did immigrate back, but they have had Jews there.
Sir, they're selling timeshares for Gaza and New Jersey right now. They're capitalizing and monetizing.
That's a good sign that maybe Gaza's going to actually be put in.
at worst spurious, if not at best questionable history, while you cite the Bible as a historical geographical document, let's use a legal questionable claim to install and insert a whole group of people there that we know
Legal
is
because
going
the
to.
UN sanctioned it to them for having historical rights to the property, period. If it was illegal, then why do you believe in the UN? I don't love them, but
If you go by the theory of historical rights, then every land is going to be reinvaded by whoever has had it taken from them through conflict throughout history. You're setting the stage to create a legal claim.
Then right now we wouldn't have the state of America.
This is great. Watch how I'm going to get you with your own bullshit. Are you for open borders and all the Mexicans coming in illegally to live here?
Absolutely not.
Of course you're not, because you're a fucking bigot. And I'm going to do to you now what you just did to me, and I'm going to point out your hypocrisy. Don't talk over me now. Sir, you are anti-immigrant. You are anti-immigrant, and you're going to use legalities to keep the people out of here. You're talking over me now. You're talking over me now. You're talking over me now.
You call me a bigot, I'm going to park your ass.
You just called me anti-Semitic. I'm holding. I'm going to have to let you go if you're not going to let me speak. I'm going to have to let you go if you're not going to let me speak. The Mexicans who used to live on California and Texas and New Mexico, it's called New Mexico because it used to be Old Mexico, have a historical claim to this land. Why don't you want the Mexicans to get their land back they have a historical claim to before the Roman
Empire? Because they oppressed my people in Texas. I'm sixth generation. And
there you go, right out of your feelers. Right out of your feelers, because you got a feeling of why it shouldn't happen. Right.
They chose to give land grants to the United States, and then they turned around and said, hey, I'm taking it all back. Tough shit. And guess what? The United States didn't even get involved until we whipped their ass.
You want to have it your way, and your way is not your way. It's the way of who uploaded
My
you.
way is the American way.
You don't
Your
know
way
about
is
any of this. You know what you've been told
Yes, I do.
by your members who propagandized you, because your logic.
You know what? If you don't even know basic Texas history, then you're not a real American, dude.
I don't even need to know basic Texas history to know that you
why
can't.
The Mexicans got their asses kicked out because they chose to go to war and they got their ass beat.
It doesn't matter. You can't use a logic and then not be consistent with your logic. By your
Did
logic,
the Mexicans declare war on the Republic of Texas? Yes, and they lost. And when you lose, the victor goes the fucking spoils. End the fucking story.
As you put it, did the Roman Empire declare war on Israel or Palestine and win?
They in ancient times.
And they have the claim to that land. See how logic works? See how logic works?
Yeah, and guess what? That doesn't change the fact that that land was historically the Jews.
Doesn't change the fact that New Mexico and Texas and California are historically the Mexicans. Why are you against them coming back to reclaim their historic land? I don't see the difference.
I would say roll the dice and take your chances, but they sure as shit don't have their shit together. The UN sure as hell didn't. Maybe if it was sanctioned by the UN.
You also don't care about the fact that the Constitution says, doesn't say anything, but it reads that all people.
What? The UN fucking said after World War II, the Jews get the land. They didn't say the Mexicans get to have New Mexico and Texas.
And I guess when the UN says it, it's as good as God himself coming down to declare it, ain't it, Bubba?
Well, homeboy, after World War II, somebody was going to have to put it together, and it sure shit one of the people you're talking about.
And it's going to be your daddies in uniform who know just the right thing to do. They're always infallible and honorable.
Going for personal words just shows that you can't. You can raise your voice. You don't strengthen your argument, dude. I'm hitting you with facts.
I have to raise my voice to talk over you because you want me to be quiet when you speak, but want to talk over.
Then you get respectful again, and I won't talk into you.
Call me an anti-Semite, and I'm going to I'm going to hold the mirror up and show you exactly what you're doing.
Israelis have a historical right.
You're a cherry picker, just like you'll say,
I'm not a cherry picker.
You're talking. I'm going to have to let you go, sir. You're talking over me, and you're destroying the integrity of the broadcast.
Well, no, that would be your opinion.
I go, then you go. I go, then you go. That's what has to happen. And don't speak when I'm interrupting, because I'm the host. I get to interrupt if I want to. There's special
rules. You follow your
rules.
rules, and I'll be cool with it.
I'm like the UN. Sometimes I follow my rules. Sometimes I do whatever I want, and you got to go along with it. This is my UN
Typical
here.
Democrat. You're that say not
No,
right there.
I'm just like you and your UN. Sometimes I follow the codes and the rules that I set. Sometimes I do whatever I want for everybody's best interest and safety. That's my prerogative.
Okay. Well,
I'm
go
just
ahead and
like
make your point.
you.
You're wasting time. Go ahead and make your point.
Right.
That's all
So
I'm saying.
just like someone like you, and now you did it like they all do. You called me a Democrat because you're a Republicard and you're died and indoctrinated. So
Instead of
anybody,
insulting me,
you're talking over me again. It's for a fact. Deal with it, Bubba, or I'm going to let you go. I
Then
could just
quit with the
easily
insults and
take
hit
you
me with
as
a
a
fact.
character and monologue off of you because you're all the same. You're literally out of
Why
a
don't you do
factory. You're out of a
Why do you have to
factory.
insult somebody when you can just finesse
I'm
them with a
talking
fact?
about what it is. Your talking points are just line for line what we hear every time we hear a Republican speak. I'm not a
How do you know I'm
Democrat
a Republican?
because
How
you
do you know
just
I'm a
called me a Democrat. It's that easy to figure
That
you
doesn't
out.
mean I'm a Republican. That doesn't mean
What
you don't know
identify
I'm a-
as? Or why do you call me a
I'm a liberal.
Democrat then?
What if I'm a libertarian?
I
They don't
would argue.
identify
I
as
would
a-
argue same thing.
Here's the
Arguably.
thing, Dave, of course, this is my only point. To get back
If
to my
I
point,
ask
think about
you
this.
how you live and what you do day to day, you'll tell me the story of a modern day neocon. I would bet anything on it.
And you know what? That's the difference between you and I. You don't know shit about me, and I know
You're
I
right,
don't
I
know
don't.
shit about you other than what you just
You're
told
right,
me.
you
And
don't.
you're like a Democrat and say, I'll tell you everything about you, which is a lie.
Right. I'm saying I believe that by profiling you, I could take answers and align it with what certain people do. You called me something based on what you identify with because you think I'm opposing you. Now, we're getting off
But I
this.
appreciate the fact that you say you're not anti-Semitic. You just don't believe that the Israelis have a claim. I'll say, okay, maybe you're not. But you
Right, I
telling me
said
you
that.
know me and you know exactly how I would vote and what I do. That's, man, think about it. You're telling people you know what's best for them and you know how they think and what they are.
Do you
don't
vote
know
for
shit about
president? Do you vote for president?
Absolutely.
Who'd you vote for in the last election?
Who do you think?
Who do
you're,
I think?
You're the profiler.
Wait, what are we doing, sir? I'm asking you questions to
You
understand.
think I'm going to
because
vote for? You think I'm going to vote for? I don't care what party it was. It could have been the party for Mars. If that psycho bitch Camilla, I wouldn't vote for that bitch if she was my.
sound a lot like a Republican to me, boy. That's what I'm hearing and saying.
And you sound like another. You sound like another Democrat that's wants to make
No,
fun
they
of
never
other
voted.
regions.
Hey,
How
Bubba.
they speak or where they live.
Bubba, I've never
Hey, I'm
voted.
talking about facts.
Bubba.
You're talking about bullshit. Tell me why
I've
you
never.
voted. Tell me why you voted for Camilla.
I'm gonna have to let you go because you can't control your emotions. You can't stop yakking.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
You're chatty
I'm listening to
patty.
you, dude. Tell me why you voted.
I never voted in
No,
any.
you are.
I never voted
I want
in.
you to
Sir,
here. This is what he does.
I'm going to count to three now. You get three more strikes because I keep saying it, and I'm going to have to do it at a certain point because you don't believe I'm.
Mocking me.
I'm doing an aimant broadcast. I just jumped numbers up 50
And
people.
you know what? You're a punk. Because you can't be a little
now
boy.
we're going to go to the physicality and the violence, right?
This is how you're talking.
You're going to do
This is how you're
violence to me,
talking. You're a
boy?
jerk, man.
You're going to come
get
do
all upset,
something?
and what do? Go right to assault. You're not adult enough to kill them with the facts. You can't represent the facts.
I was trying that.
You, man.
I like the accent, and I'm trying it on.
I'll do it if I'll talk like this because they
Stop
said,
it.
shut the fuck up, dude.
Stop it.
You're like every other guy. You can't take the truth, so you fucking go to the insult
The
like
only
a bitch.
problem is, Bubba,
That's true.
you voted for
And guess
Daddy
what?
Trump.
This time, your guests were listening. Your people are listening, and they seen you get your ass whacked.
A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
You don't have anything
I've got
left,
a
so
bunch
you
left.
want to now
Retard.
overtalk me, hoping I'll hang up on you
won't
because
tell
you
me.
have nothing
What's
left.
wrong with the Abraham Accords? That was the main reason I called.
Let
and you
me
won't answer.
finish.
What is wrong
Let
with the
me
Abraham
finish. This is why you don't have a broadcast and I do. See?
Accords? What? Yeah, $5 in your mom's basement. Go for it.
We're doing the mom's basement thing and demeaning the value today that come in. Do you really want to know the
Hey,
value
well, you just told me I
Sir,
talk
do you
like a
really
hick,
want
and
to
I
know
go
the
back to
value
mom's
that
basement.
came in
You get a
today
little
on the
plate.
Lord's
Now,
Day?
come on,
I don't
give a
think
credit.
you
If you're
do.
gonna throw it out, you gotta be able to take it.
Sir, I got two more because of you. I don't think you want to know how much
We
value.
hillbillies are a little bit smarter than you think,
Sir,
dude.
if you keep going,
There's
I'm going to
nothing
buy me
original
a new
about you.
GMC today, okay? So
Hey,
I'm
baby, do what you
telling
got to do.
made a.
I'm not the one
right,
that.
I'll
I mean,
stop the
I've
accent
enjoyed
for you because
I've
you
enjoyed
can't
the
handle it.
conversation.
I'm making an agreement with you. This isn't a conversation.
No,
This is a
I
non-conversation.
love it. That's what you do.
I'm abandoning the
Instead of
accent.
sticking with the facts,
Can you compose yourself, please? Can you shut up? I don't want to have to throw you out.
I've been waiting for you to compose yourself. Settle down, sweetie. Settle down. Go ahead.
Let me tell you, like your government would tell you, you ain't in control of this interaction. You don't get to set the terms, and you're not in control of this. This is why I don't like the phone, because panel, I can just shut you up and do my monologue and bring you back.
Who's in the executive branch? Who's in the legislative branch? Who's in the Supreme Court? Who's in control
I
now?
know. Right. Okay.
Yeah. You don't know one of those. And I know it hurts, but it's a fact. The Abraham Accord is what I'm talking about.
Let's recap. I made a statement that if I was to profile you, I would bet anything that whether you call yourself a libertarian or not, you live your life.
What does profiling me make a difference when I'm asking you about the Abraham Accord?
I'm going to have to let you go, sir, because you're cutting me off. I'm going to have to let you go and wrap up because you're cutting me off.
You won't tell me what you think about the Abraham Accords.
You're not letting me finish. Can you hold that thought? Give me 30 seconds to speak. Hold that thought, and we'll come back to it. Is that possible for you? Thank you, honey.
I just said yes.
So I said if I was a betting man, if I had to bet, I would profile you as living like a Republican, despite what you call it. As soon as I asked you question 2, I think it's 2. You're 2 for 2 so far. You don't like illegals and them having a historical claim to this land, but you're okay with Israel doing it. Okay. And what was the second one?
No,
See, now you got me off.
I don't dislike illegals. I just don't want them in our country. It's illegal. They're breaking the law.
Right.
That doesn't mean I hate
They're not breaking the law. They're breaking legal. They're interfering with legal policy, process, and procedure. The law and legality.
No, when you cross the border illegally, and they have not, to talk about betting, most of them, they didn't even get a date, man. You got 21 million people that just came in. You don't tell me they're sucking the resources. Talk to some of the folks on the south side of Chicago, I have, and see how they feel. That's why they overwhelmingly voted for Trump. They're looking at it saying, dude, you've been telling me for 40 years you don't have money for my community right here. And they're like, but you got money now to do this shit?
Now you're annoying me because I just forgot what my point was. I had the point, and you just keep throwing out 5 different things to get me off balance. What was the second point? I'll have to go to my chat now. Chat, what was the second point that I made that he voted for his daddy Donnie, and he even asked me, who do you think I voted for? As if he knows that I know that it's obvious.
You say it without all the insults. Why can you say it not be juvenile? Just say what you say.
How is it an insult by me imitating your accent? I didn't
you want a mature conversation.
I didn't call you a redneck or whatever else. I'm imitating your accent just like I have one. I can't do that.
Have to. You mocked me. Mocked me. And
I've done that many times. I enjoy the accent.
If I mock you, then I still mock you.
I enjoy the accent. It's not necessary.
I'm proud of the accent. And
I'm not down on it. I'm not down on it. The bottom line is you voted.
I asked you about the Abraham Accord. That's all I asked.
Hello.
You want to do profile? Or do you want to get
President,
to the point?
Vice President.
That's all.
God, you don't shut the fuck up. You're annoying.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
You voted for president, vice president, treasurer, and otherwise. Those are all positions of a corporation. Okay? So you want to believe that the corporation is the country, not. And the fact that you
I don't, dude. I believe in a two-party system. I believe in a
two-party system is part of the corporation. You're voting from two sides of election for representative in the corporate capacity.
So no matter
it has nothing to do
for, the corporations are going to control us.
That's not good logic, sir. Lesser of evils is still evil. I'm gonna have. Can you leave, please? Because you're not willing to go back and forth.
I'm sitting here listening.
You are talking. You're talking over me and not letting me finish. You are the average slave who has no idea what's going on. You don't care to be consistent and use logic, moral, or ethics, and you're yapping over me while I'm setting the stage.
What do you think about the Abraham Accords? And you have yet to answer. That's all I've done.
I don't know as much about it. Shut up. I don't know as much about it as you do.
Nobody's talking.
You're not talking as you're talking?
Silence.
I can't mute him on my end.
You can't hear me?
No, I can't mute you. They're all telling me to mute you because you're a dunce and you're interfering with what I'm saying, and they didn't come here to listen to your garbage that they've heard 1,000 times.
You keep trying to insult me, and I keep asking the same question. The Abraham Accord is basic. It's a basic understanding.
I don't have as much understanding as you clearly, so tell me all about it.
The Abraham Accords is this. It was set up by, of all people, 3 people. And 2 of them are novice. But the bottom line, it says this: the Jordanians are down with it. The Saudis are down with it. It says this: let's choose peace and prosperity. And for the first time in 45 years, really 50, they're willing to recognize, do what a Islamic nation has not been willing to do. And if you and I both agree on one thing, if you're going to coexist, then you have to coexist or acknowledge each other, meaning you and I'm me, we might not agree, but for us to coexist, we can't say the other one has to be eliminated or genocide. And these Arab nations, again, Saudi Arabia, now Syria, okay, work to be done there, but guess what? They finally got somebody in Syria that he's answering to Saudis, and the Jordanians, they're independent, and they're saying, we're in, man. And you know why? Because it goes back to over 3,000 years of the Shia and the Sunni battling, and that ain't got a fucking thing to do with Rothschild or any baking. Those fuckers are gonna war whether we like it or not. And the bottom line is, the Abraham Accord, for the first time, has an outline to bring these countries together. That they say, I'm gonna recognize you, Israelis. I'm not saying I agree with everything, but instead of us making war, let's make business. Whether you like it or not, the Israeli edge as far as tech, the high tech and AI in that region. The Saudis want to do business with them.
Here's a newsflash.
It's a dangerous dance. And guess who disrupted it? Guess who disrupted it? The Iranians.
Because they don't want to do business with the likes of you, and I don't blame them. They don't want to do business with the likes of you.
We're talking about a 2-state solution that actually works.
You're talking about any solution that allows you and who you stand for to get what you want. That's all this amounts to.
Okay, and if you don't like, guess what? You have to win. Guess what? If you still get the same outcome, but you don't like the way it was done, then I guess it's wrong, right?
No, I'm just not for pushing what I've been told that I want at the expense of doing.
But if you try sometimes, you might get what you need.
Thank you, Mick Jagger.
But it might be winning ugly.
I don't need a 2-state solution.
It's a real thing.
I don't need to be involved.
Well, what about peace? What about just peace? What about just
down
peace?
the hall to the left? Jack Talcott's into world peace and ending wars and legal secrets. I'm concerned with what.
Okay, well they're doing it right now under Trump. There's a ceasefire in Gaza, in case you haven't noticed. And guess what? Qatar is holding the chain, and they pulled it back and they told the Iranians.
You'd be amazing. You'd be great at it. You should start a broadcast.
I am amazing.
That's why I can't.
With the facts, though, have me on every week. I'll help you make $1 million. I don't care. You don't have to pay me a penny.
Right. Again, man.
You keep all the money.
I don't think that I really need you to do what I do. I've been doing it for a while with some decent results.
I didn't say you did. I said if you wanted to make more money, then you'd have somebody like me. That's what makes it interesting, dude. Friction makes fire.
I guess if you could ever shut up to let me respond to anything, but you can't. So it just becomes.
If I was an active member on your show, then maybe I could. But we'd have to, get the.
So you want a 2-state solution here right now? You're doing what your Israeli programmers and propagandists teach you to do.
Dude, let's be honest. You're not going to coexist.
You impinge on other people's. You impinge on other people's area and their program, and then you say, "Well, maybe if you just give me what I want, I will start to act properly." And that's exactly my point. You just displayed the exact process and procedure they're doing.
Humility, the ability to be taught. I can shut the fuck up when somebody doesn't insult me. When you insult me, I have every right to step in and go, no, I will not tolerate that.
You don't get to decide. You don't get to qualify.
I do get to decide because I'm me. You can hang up on me, but you will not disrespect me.
Right, and that's the bottom line. You're stonewalling and forcing.
The bottom line is that's what a man does.
Do the broadcast.
I'm fucking telling you or anybody else. You disrespect me.
Oh my God!
But guess what? If you talk
vaccines, did you get hopefully like at least 5 out of the 11? So we won't have to deal with this.
Leave the slurs out
How
of
many
it.
vaccines did you
Leave
get?
the slurs out, and I'm all ears.
How many vaccines did
I'm
you get
all
so
ears.
far?
I'm here to listen. If you, dude, I've got the 3, and I'll never get another one.
You got 3, and you'll never get another one. So every time I ask you a question, you give me an answer that shows me that I'm more conscious and aware of these certain things than you are on every level. So I don't see how you could.
No, you know what you're conscious of? You're conscious of a Dr. Fauci that fucking caused the whole fucking problem in the first. And by the way,
more
you know
blaming other
Fauci?
people.
Just go back to the
I
80s.
didn't take the shots.
Killed over 60,000.
I didn't take the shots.
LGBT
I don't vote for masters. I don't get duped out of my rights.
And guess what? Then I admire you for not taking the shot. But guess what? A lot of people did because guess what?
Because you're stupid.
I think the first shot helped the first place.
Because you refuse to look at the truth and confront your beliefs. You may not be stupid, but you're too prideful. You're too prideful and egotistical to confront your beliefs and admit you're wrong. As you just said, you weren't.
I have humility. Teach me. I'm like, dude, anything that you
can tell me
because
I would have to give you the equivalent of 3 shots on this broadcast to get you to shut up and admit you were wrong. I don't have that kind of time and power.
Well, then why don't you admit the fact that you're not open to any other ideas? I told you, show me, teach me, show me what you're talking about.
I am open to ideas that make sense, not from people who do nonsensical things and follow people off cliffs. I have no reason to believe.
Are not controlling everything.
You keep cutting me off every word that I'm saying. I'm gonna have to let you go because you won't shut the fuck up and let me finish. You haven't let me finish a sentence yet.
Yes, I have.
You're not. You're not even aware of what you're doing. I've tried to say 5 to 10 different things so far. You're cutting me off now.
How long has this been going? Let me ask, how long has this conversation been going on for real?
43 painful minutes of your nonsense.
43 minutes. And guess what? Guess what? For somebody that you just think is a real retard has kept you on the phone 43 minutes to prove a point that you have no humility. If you did, you'd have the ability to be taught, even when you like, I might not.
I don't want to be taught by someone who votes for masters, takes 3 shots to figure out a genocide campaign, and still said vote for a daddy because Kamala is bad. I think
and guess what? And that's the difference between you and I.
I'll see you later, sir. He's going to have to get the answer from off the phone because he can't shut his trap long enough for me to get a word out to do the fucking broadcast the way I want to do it. He's just like the state of Israel. He's going to hone in on me, force his way, correct me with everything he doesn't like, stop me from carrying on my affairs, and then give me an ultimatum. Well, maybe if you do what I want you to do, then I'll start conducting myself the way I should. You sound just like the invading Israelis with their claims that they get to do whatever they want to do to force a solution the way they want it. Go fuck yourself. That's the answer I'd give to them if I'm the Palestinians. That's the answer I'd give to you. Owe you anything? 3 vaccine votes for the master who created it and then sticks by it, says he's still going to do it. And I'm going to listen to him to be taught about anything in life. You got it wrong, Bubba. You're calling me back now? You are.
Absolutely. I'm giving you a
hijacker.
I know you didn't mean that.
Redneck Israeli. I'm going to throw you out again. You're not going to get anywhere with me forcing your will. You're going to piss me off is what you're going to do. And then I'm going to invite you to me privately, and I'm going to see what you're really about. You're going to piss me off if you try to force your way with me.
A viable issue, the Abraham Accord.
Don't try to force your way with me. You're not going to get anywhere.
I'm not battling you, bullshit.
I hung up on you. That means I'm done with you.
No, it means you cowered out.
43 minutes of your garbage. I gave you way too much time. I have other health challenges from doing this, by the way.
I know it unnerves you.
For doing this 2 years straight every day gave me health issues along with not taking care of my body.
Do you want peace in the Middle East?
I want you to fuck yourself. Goodbye. Doesn't get it. You don't get it. See, I'm glad he's doing this because he's showing exactly that he's like the people that he's taking up for and what their tactics are and what they do. Right? They want false peace by me conforming to their way and their way only when I'm the one who's going to set the precedent here because this is my land and my area. And I'm going to tell you what the custom's going to be. And if you don't want to follow it, you get the fuck out. And you can cry for me, Argentina, because I mocked your accent. You don't get to tell me how to do a broadcast. If you had any humility, you'd shut up and sit back and say, I'm probably 10 or 15 years older than this guy, judging by the way you sound and how you act. This guy was in his 20s and 30s, never voted for a master, never took out any of the contracts, never took the shots, saw through all of it. Maybe he's got some discernment, conscious, and awareness that I don't. As you sit right here in my face and tell me, of course you voted for your daddy who put everyone in lockdown. You're pathetic and embarrassing. 562.
Yeah, I just want to say that guy was an idiot, and you destroyed him. And the Abraham Accords didn't even work, you know? So, yeah, that guy was a fucking idiot.
It's not hard to tell, sir. I'm pretty good at profiling. I've studied criminology. I don't have any certificates or graduate degrees, but I know all the same things that everyone else does to an extent. I don't know it all, of course, but I have a background in certain things because I've taken my time out to look at these certain things, and I have a pretty good intuition. So all I have to do is listen to you, take a few words of what you say, I draft up a profile, and you hit 10 out of 10 of what my profile is. If he'd have shut up, I'd have asked him 5 more questions, and he'd have answered exactly how I know he's going to answer that's going to fulfill the profile. And he could be my simulation for the day. He didn't like that. He doesn't want to be the simulation of what a dunce fool looks like who can't get out of his own way. Choosing that, I'm not. I'm just revealing it and showing it for what it is.
Yeah,
it's like clockwork around here.
Yeah, he's a fucking retard. And yeah, he's definitely a Republican tard. So yeah.
Not hard to tell, man. These guys all walk, talk, and act the same way, do the same shit, spout them propaganda, and then act like they have their own mind. And it's just embarrassing.
You got him on the example of Mexico, you know, like you know, they have ties to California and New Mexico and Arizona and Texas. Would you be okay with them, you know, invading, you know? You got him there. Of course.
This is just subjective logic. If something applies over here, then it applies over here. And if it applies over here, but it doesn't apply over here, then you're hypocritical and you're doing policy based off your feelers. And your feelers are always going to back what you want to be true and deny what you don't want to be true. And that is the undoing of oneself and their affairs. Every single time.
Yeah. Yeah. And a Jew from Poland coming to Palestine, he has no right to take that land. That's like fucking retarded.
Well, the Bible says, you notice how ridiculous these people are? They're going to take 1 out of 3 main religions of the world book and claim that's the only one that matters and the other 2 don't matter, and then use that as a historical claim. What about the other religions and their books and their claims? Well, they don't matter because they're not white and they don't live on Texas and they don't vote for Donnie and take 5 shots and then maybe figure out they were duped, but keep voting for them. Yeah. It's selective reasoning, and it doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't work for you or anyone else. So at some babes are going to have to free their mind and heart. They're going to have to get back locus on the shit that matters to them and their family and community, and stop sucking off what the TV keeps putting out for them to repeat as propaganda. You and I have nothing to do with the state of Israel, Palestine, or any of the rest of it. We have no business even talking about it. We aren't there. We don't know what's going on. And your version of history is obviously flawed and skewed and extremely subjective based on whatever you feel in the moment, like a bitch. Sorry to say, I shouldn't say that. But in a way, like a bitch, that's what bitches do. You're loyal to your feelers, and your feelers blow in the wind and can change moment to moment. And then you're gonna establish your logic and your rationale off of whatever you're feeling in that moment. And it doesn't comport with what you just said 5 minutes ago. Right? So, you know, again, we're gonna wrap up here because we already did almost 3.5 hours. I did at least an hour and a half.
You could tell he watches Fox News, you could tell.
Of course. It's all the same talking points, the same garbage, the same versions of history. You know, the same world purview and perspective. I got to thank Kyle S. Says, the universe, man, last week I was listening to Gen X Chef TML talk philosophy, and when it was over, I reminisced your broadcast, and I literally thought I should send Paul something and message him to come back soon. Maybe 2 hours later, you were on. Well, yeah, and then we got Taylor. Good to see Taylor's keeping with our compact, as it were, like the Abraham Accord. He's keeping our accord. Thank you, Taylor, for your Christmas contributions.
Hey, I don't know. I don't know if this is too much to ask for. You're probably gonna say no, but it's okay. Do you have that guy's number and you could like text me because I want to debate him.
I can't. If he's in chat and he wants to, I think his name is Stacy Stockton, what I'm getting from his chats down there. Stacy Stockton, if you'll give me express permission to provide this guy with your number or just the public in general, because I don't think there's any way that I could give it to just him. I'd have to be able to give it to anyone. I can't legitimately give out his number over this.
Wait, his name is Stacy, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be proper form.
Yeah, hey Stacy, you better call. You better.
Kenny's asking over and over again, can I call? The number's up. Obviously, you can call. It's pinned up top there. Although I would like to wrap up. I don't want to get into another argument. I got another call here. You want me to take it, or you're good to go, right?
Yeah. Before I go, I just want to say, fuck these guys. You destroy them with facts, and I'm sorry you had to deal with that guy interrupting you.
It's all good, man. It's part of the thing. I'm gonna let you go, brother.
But anyways, Merry Christmas and God bless you.
You as well. God bless all retards as well. I may be one of them from time to time. There's no denying that.
All right. You're gonna try guessing what party I'm in.
3, 2, 3. Go ahead.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. 1, I love guns. 2, I love this country. So what am I?
I don't know because I have the same perspective.
Just
right?
an American.
There we
Just an
go.
American.
I can agree with that.
Do I believe people need to come over the border illegally? No, I think they should come through a port of entry. Just to be kind, be nice, let us know who you are. Make sure you ain't trying to touch little fucking kids, or I'm gonna throw your ass in a pedophile. I'm gonna throw your ass in the wood chipper.
If you're looking for all the people touching the children, you better go to United States Corporation and their little list that they won't release. I doubt that it's.
Yeah, I fucking know, and we know why it didn't get released.
Yeah, because Daddy didn't want it released.
He got convicted at what, 2019, and the list didn't come out then. And here we are, what, 8 years later? Not even 8, like what, 4 or 5 years later, or more, roughly, and it's finally coming out. But do we even believe that shit?
Right, I have a ton of guns. I love America. I believe in rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, and I'm active and get my ass thrown in jail for it and get results at court with it. Again, the reason that I profiled him is because I heard the Israel first propaganda, and I know where that comes out of, right?
Dude, look, I don't give a fuck about Israel or any other goddamn country but our own. I do believe in putting money back in America's pocket and an America First agenda. However, I don't think the two-party state works anymore.
Right. The point is, this guy's voting for people who are locking us down at home and promoting vaxes while they're taking tax money and sending it over to Israel. And he acts like that's a positive thing. That's a good thing. We want that. We like that. You know, I don't know where these.
Why do all these other countries want our money?
He would rather him, and he doesn't know how to like work the tax situation to not get taxed, right, and do the paperwork. But let's just take his belief. Like, forget it, because it's like teaching a Labrador to do calculus. It'll never happen. But let's just take his worldview for reality. Taxes are obligatory. Everyone's forced to have them. He would rather be forced to tax to fund Israel and Ukraine and everywhere else than to abolish taxation and live like the founders set this place up to be. Right?
Do you remember back? Hold up. Who was it? Grant? Fuck no. One of the original presidents, I think 1 through 6, started the Navy for the Barbary States. And everything that we took in from the Barbary States, which were mainly tariffs and a few other things that I can't remember off the top of my head. You might want to look them up. I can't remember them. But that's what literally built our country to start building our country. Do we need to tax our own people? Fuck no. Do we need to have some taxes? Probably. Do we need to have better gun laws? I don't know, because criminals are always going to get guns.
Listen, man, the reality of it is if we didn't have imposed taxes or what he believes are imposed taxes, I still believe people would take a certain percentage out of what they get or create and give it toward services voluntarily, right? Everybody agrees we want roads and we want a firehouse down the road to fight a fire and ambulance services. Okay, we'll all tithe 10% based on what the bill is to keep that going. and get paid.
Yeah.
What I'm not going to do is support an arbitrary 1/3 or quarter, and it's rising as the years go on, of whatever I create toward black ops programs, vaxes, chemtrails, Ukraine, Israel, and all the rest of it. Give me a fucking break.
Some people
love
I
their
don't
slavery.
understand having a party of allegiance. I mean, I do have an allegiance to a party. It's called the Wood Chipper. I think we can all get behind that. Anybody
I
who says
can't get behind that, sir, because I'm not going to kill other people for the wrongs they've done, especially if they're repentant. And I'm not going to create karma on my soul.
I completely understand
right?
that.
So
I mean, I've been
that's a
in
lot of
places
rhetoric.
that-
The people who say that aren't going to run the wood chippers and put people in them. And if they are, they're going to bring karma of killing people onto their soul, right?
Hey,
So-
look, if you touch a kid or you hurt or do inhumane crimes, as far as like what Nazi Germany did against the Jews, things of, how would you say it, of just horrific, horrendous shit. I don't mind. Go ahead, do what you got to do.
Yeah, I can't support that, because in a world like that, if you're guilty of one thing, you're guilty of all of it. And if by guilt means that you get thrown in a wood chipper and get killed, well, then everybody and anybody will be for being a witch and doing magic and all the rest of it. We'll go back to an inquisition, right? So
yeah, that is true.
I can't support sanctioned murder especially for repentant folks who've done wrong. If you've done wrong, I don't care what it is, lying, cheating, stealing, messing with kids, whatever it is. If you did wrong and you know you did wrong and you go to God and you confess that, that's the whole point of Christianity, right? Originally was we're all guilty at times. We all do sin. We all have to be able to go to our maker and repent and have a life after that. We all can't be put to death because we're all sinners. If we are, there'll be nobody left, right?
Shit, I'll be dead too. What do you mean?
Right. So if you're guilty,
I
the least of it, you're guilty of all of it. Absolution through repentance and reconciliation has to be the way. If not, you're going to have a dead human race at its own hand.
Hey, some of these people are wanting that, though.
Yeah, the people he's supporting, the Zionists who are using the Jewish religion, are literally saying we need a third world war and we need to bring in the Messiah. And the only way to do that is through cataclysm and Armageddon. And this is the guy he wants to put in charge, while he claims while he gaslights and says it's Iran doing it all. No, Bubba, Iran doesn't have a dozen different conflicts over the last 20 years. Your United States Corporation and the State of Israel does, because they're working hand in hand, either financially, technologically, or otherwise, intelligence-based.
Hey, when did World War II start?
Answer me this. Say again?
When did World War II start? When did World War II start?
Late 1930s into the 1940s, from my understanding?
No. 1941 to 1946. All right. December 7th, 1941. All right. That was Pearl Harbor. The next day.
Right. But
Congress went and they went out ahead and they did a declaration of war. Okay. So Congress went ahead and passed the declaration of war, right? And we have been still actively underneath that doctrine today.
Right. What I'm saying is there's a lead up to these events. You can't pick a day and say World War III or World War II, World War started on this. There's 5 to 10 years of lead up to how this shit all starts, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was 1932 when Hitler came in power. I'm just saying
on the back of the Great Depression, which I believe was 1929, after the gold and silver standard was taken off. So we could literally go, where does it begin and end, right? You can go back to the 1890s and trace a path to how that all came to the Great Depression, which was engineered, that led to another world war. And we can see we're doing it now again. We're literally coming up on 2029. They're talking about Great Reset, Agenda 2030. They're probably going to collapse the economy, 2029 again, a Greater Depression, and they're going to bring in another world war to solidify the new financial economic system and get everyone to beg for it. So this is a spiritual playbook.
Spiritual playbook, or either that or it's like 5 people running the world.
Right, but again, those 5 people, if you want to trace it back to 5 people, those 5 people have not been abashed. They've not been ashamed to admit that their God is someone or something, and they're doing the will of it. and it ain't.
No. God is. They don't have a God. Their God is money. Their God is power.
You can say that, but it's under the again, the bankers are the ones who are on the power and money quest, and the ones creating it, they are subservient to what they consider to be Lucifer. Just like Albert Pike, head of World Freemasonry, said in that book. They proclaim that Lucifer is their God, right? So
I don't know what book you're talking about. 1984.
Morals and Dogma.
Oh, I haven't read that one.
Well, I'll next broadcast, if you show up, like, share, subscribe, and all that. We come back next time. I've gone over it before. We can go over Morals and Dogma, where Albert Pike, head of World Freemasonry,
Actually,
at the time,
I'll probably just read it.
Declared Lucifer to be the god, said we're going to do 3 world wars to usher in a new world order, economic and religious system.
The global world.
Right. And this guy doesn't understand that the Israel-Iran situation is all designed, set up to do the war, to then do the fake peace deal, to then bring in the one world religion where they unite all of them under one banner. It's all a progressive.
Well, I mean, I couldn't unite with certain religions due to certain people marrying underage kids. It's kind of like not my forte.
Again, I'm not going to speak on any of that. I don't know
do I have a
about
problem with people that are of that religion? No, I don't. They're cool. I mean, some of my brothers are Muslim. Are they that way? Fuck no.
Right. You can't broach a
Cassius Clay, known as Muhammad Ali. He said, I am a Muslim, but I'm a peaceful Muslim.
I'm going to have to I want to let you go, because we're going to be here all night, and we can't broad brush a whole religion. The Catholics, the Jews, and the Muslims are all human beings, and human beings do fucked up shit, including preying on children. Get real.
Hey,
get real with ourselves and each other. So you can't stick pedophilia onto the Muslims, because the Jews are well known for that as well. If you look at the stereotype, or what the what's propagated there as far as right, and so are the Catholics, and therefore Christians, because there's not a hair's breadth between these Christians and Catholics in the modernist world.
Dude, no, they're all broke off from the same religion.
Right. The point is that human being is part animal, and by being part animal, there is a conflict at times between what's logical, rational, moral, and ethical versus what our body craves. And that is the inside war that leads to the outside war of all mankind. The war between light and dark, proper and improper, right and wrong, right? Lustful versus loving. Yeah. We can go all the way down the line. As within, so without, as above, so below.
This is my question. How are we going to be able to get rid of the divide that they have caused?
The presumption is that we can or have to get rid of any divide, rather than individually focus on what matters to us and has meaning and purpose, and work our practice and create a life for ourselves that is worth living. Most of us, including me, have no business focusing on the world's affairs beyond just talking about it in passing, bringing it up to make another point about who and what we all are, and tying it back in together. We have no business involving ourselves in anything. We got enough on our plate with a Renaissance period, resurrecting rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, upholding the law, experiencing a free country, and encouraging the people here the same. The rest of this crap, and then that's in between working on our vices, checking our addictions, being able to have healthy relationships with ourselves and the opposite sex, and raise children properly. We have so much on our fucking plate. It's astounding. We have no business focusing on the rest of this crap when it gets right down to it.
And yet, all they care about is keeping everybody divided.
I'm not interested in today. I know what I do and what I'm involved in. See, that's where the power is. What I do and what I'm involved in. Working with myself and other ground to do community, to create a life worth living, and creating a lasting legacy that embodies an eternal truth that was true from the beginning of time till the end, and holding myself to that standard. I have enough work with that because I am imperfect and fallible, and I am an animal as well in certain ways, and I have enough on my plate just keeping my life and my shit together and attempting to try to put one foot in front of the other and do the right thing.
Hey, look, it's sometimes hard to put one foot in front of the other.
Right. You know,
On
I'm
some
sure
days,
that my
you
walk
just
is
don't
not
want to
any
do it.
different than anyone else's, right? Life is challenging and testing and takes a lot out of us and a lot for us to do and be and have better. And that's what I believe we need to focus on. All this other crap is a way to escape from what we know we need to be doing. Exactly. It's an alternative reality we want to live out and play in and try to solve the problems of the world instead of solving our own fucking problems and bettering ourselves in our life. Nonsense.
You know, I used to escape reality through narcotics, and now I don't.
Join the
And
club, sir.
I've seen both sides. I have issues with both Democrats and Republicans. And now I'm sitting here and I'm trying to love thy neighbor, but yet you got these other idiots sitting here trying to tell you what to do. We can't hit nobody. Can't do nothing.
Oh, that's why a lot of the time, man, what I've learned is the gateway to power is true peace. The gateway to true peace is surrender. Oftentimes there is nothing to do, right? The more you fight, the more you do, the more you're in resistance. The more you just be what you're meant to be and focus on the next right thing, the more everything else just comes together, you know?
Hey, you want to know something I found out through sobriety? That no matter what, at the end of the day, you're still home.
I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, shit. Hold on. Oh, you went to my watch. But no, as through addiction, I've learned that there are things that need to be fixed on both, or fixed for the good of America. And worrying about every other country is not good for us. What are they doing? They're how many miles away? 3,000 miles? What is
Right. The average
3,000
person
miles?
that goes to any broadcast has one of a few issues. Issues with themselves and their weight, what they eat, their diet, their health, exercise, their relationships, their addictions, various vices, an ability to govern themselves, uphold their own rights, or even have their rights on record, right? Understand right from wrong and the law. There's so much that the average, all of us, just the majority of individuals, not all, are tasked with getting right and getting in alignment that there's no time for the rest of this crap. That's why Lucifer, in a way, is in control, because it has all of us, to a certain extent, focused on all of these issues and problems out there instead of working on ourselves and bringing our inner space into alignment with what the Spirit calls for us. Right?
Exactly.
That's why, if anything, this stuff can be entertainment. We can debate it. We can talk about it, but it begins and ends us. Who are we? What are we creating inside and outside self? What are we serving? What are we building on the ground? And what do we stand for? And what are the results of that, right? You put all your time, energy, attention on that, there's almost no fucking time left in the day for the rest of this crap. Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, left-right politics, all this garbage.
Yeah.
How about we figure out how to fucking bring a child to term and raise them properly and love our you know, as you say, our neighbor or our spouse, and have meaningful relationships.
Love thy neighbor, love thy spouse.
Yeah.
You know, just be kind to each other.
How about we focus on being successful, financially free and independent, and out from under the arm of some overreaching system of taxation and tribute? You know?
That's exactly what it is. A system.
How about we focus on not destroying the skies and the water and the environment and polluting the body politic with poisonous food and 14 vaccines? How about that?
Hey, you know what one person has to do? Just pick up one piece of trash. You know, if one person picked up one piece of trash, another person will do it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
That's all it takes.
Yeah,
That's all it takes. But nobody wants to put any effort into anything.
Because it's a lot easier. Because it's a lot easier to talk about the Abrahamic Accord and what's Donnie going to do for us, and why Paulie Boy's a sovereign citizen.
Look, hey, look, I would have voted for Trump if I had voting rights. this time because I didn't like what they did with Kamala. I didn't like that. That was not my type of
We're
deal.
back out of the factory again. Because
Okay.
I don't
didn't
like
that.
Because I don't like this ghost demon over here. I'm going to vote for this ghost demon over here to run a corporation. Sir, I don't want to go another loop. I want to let you go. I'm almost 4 hours in. I want to wrap up, and you're taking me down a road again, right? It's the same road for you as it is for everyone else.
Hey, I didn't like how they just shoved her in as president. That was my issue.
Care.
I didn't like that.
I don't care because sir, do you realize that on the states that are Republican, I get more shit for upholding the law and exercising rights than I do on leftist states? Because they're all about throwing people in a box and trying to treat people like a fucking Negro slave. Are you not getting that?
Watch that word. Watch that word.
I'm not even saying Negro as in like specifically black. I'm saying as in a classification of people.
Okay.
So again, I don't give a fuck about this Republican fetishism. This conservatism is garbage. They're less constitutional than a lot of the leftists. They don't care about rights and freedoms. They run around with this I'm the law boy attitude with a cowboy hat and try to put everybody and anybody in a fucking box for misdemeanor garbage. It's fucking nonsense. The whole thing on both sides is nonsense. I don't give a fuck who's running the corporation because no matter who's running it, they got the same gambit. We're going to use policy and code to take your property and interfere with your rights. So they're both in the same boat.
Keep your land perfectly. Keep perfectly yours.
Stop buying into the false choice game. How many more times do I? It's like rolling up a hill here.
No, dude, look, that's a law.
One leaves and one takes their place. I don't like Kamala and what they did, so I'm going to choose this. You don't see how that's a walking you right into the devil's arm deception?
No, because I probably would have went independent if I would have had a decent independent candidate.
You don't, because this isn't a idea of you getting your rights and property back through the system. It's about It's about making a false choice and putting you on record as a collectivist, and they all 9 out of 10 times on all sides for the same rationale. The day you all figure out it's a false choice deception, that's a spiritual one before it's physical, and you stop playing in and buying in and just manage your affairs and correct the record, uphold the law, exercise your rights, be a free American, stand when it comes time to go to court, you won't give a fuck who's running the corporation because it doesn't affect you. It doesn't change the outcome of your life. It's this belief that somehow you're going to have a better life by who's in office. It's fucking nonsense.
You're not. It's just
every president's engaged in those. Every president has furthered inflation. Every president has been a part of, to some degree, the same garbage over and over again. The only way to win is stop playing. That's it.
The game.
This is why, by the way, and then we're going to wrap up. A lot of the founding fathers you never heard of because they walked away and never signed that contract called the Constitution because they didn't want to federalize and turn the land into a corporatist, corporation-run land where everyone has to vote for one side or the other and then be subject to that policy and code. It's called Federalist Papers is one example of it. The original Americans walked away, didn't sign, wouldn't vote, wouldn't be a part of this crap. For the same reason I won't, because they see it's a shell game.
It is a shell game.
But Donald Trump doesn't hang out. Well, he does, but he's not like Bill Clinton. And he didn't go to, he did go to Epstein Island, but he didn't fuck nobody. It's all bullshit. They're all hobnobbing. They're all working. I'm just telling you what. Then your boy would say that. I'm telling you what the prevailing idea is.
That he ain't my boy. Don't put him in here with me.
I'm not in your accent like I was his. The good old boy accent.
I'm 100% criminal here.
I'm teasing you.
He ain't my boy.
I'm teasing you.
I hang out with criminals. I go to prison. That's where I hang out.
Now you got it. Now I'm not a criminal. I go to jail because at this point doing criminality is being successful and upholding the law is considered criminality. So we're in inversion land.
Yeah.
But the point is They're all in bed together. They all laugh and giggle together. They debate each other to act like they're opposing each other to get you all to pick sides so they can run off with your property and rights. Simple. It's never going to change. Never has been any different. Never is going to change. And when you finally do get someone in there who may have half a nutsack on them and may actually have a soul and want to do what's right, they pop their fucking head off at high noon and move on to the next shill. Get a fucking clue.
That's what they did with Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy.
And even he was a scam frolic into it. And JFK was involved with the mafia, and I can go on and on and on. None of these people have clean hands. None of them really care about what's right. None of them are doing what's true and what's right. And none of them got answers for you and I. They can't save us. That's the scary truth in this movie of a life. And there it is, sir. If you were choking on something, you wouldn't call Donnie Trump to give you the Heimlich. Either someone in your immediate area is going to help you, or you're going to remove the blockage. That's it.
He's gonna let me die, and my mom's gonna save my fucking life or my dad. He ain't got nothing to do with me.
Only if Donald Trump tells her it's allowed and not illegal. All right, I got to get out of here. Save your life.
He ain't gonna tell me shit. I'll probably punch him in the face.
If the Heimlich was illegal, they wouldn't touch you.
Yeah, my parents would. They don't mind breaking the law.
All right, there you go. Not the law, statute, policy, and code. All right, we'll see you later. Again, we got to get this verbiage down right. Statute, policy, and code is not law. It's given the force of law to the consent of the governed. The law is don't cause loss, injury, or harm to your fellow man. Don't lie. Pay your debts. And, you know, this is all based in common sense principles, what used to be taught to a man before government ever existed. It's called being a fucking man. It's called having principles and using common sense to get there. And the way that usually happens is you have a man first and a man first and a man first, all the way down the line, who raises one generation after the next in traditions. Imagine that. All right, folks. Another spine-tingling, spell-bounding broadcast here at 1013 WSLV, your only place for all things rights, freedom, principles, spiritual, faith-based, as well as slavery and genocide related. I am, of course, your humble broadcast host, a one Paul Unslaved. Special thanks to the contributors and supporters. You guys are amazing. I can show up here, run my mouth, leave here, and that some way, somehow, through non-taxable events, all extended friends and family gift me because I have such cute hair, is what someone in chat just said. I love the new hair. Although it bothers me, see, because it's non-symmetrical. I have little pieces. I like the symmetry. Right? But because I have such a nice beard lately and a nice middle-aged, what did they call it? The Middle Ages haircut. I'm gonna look like Talcotson with those bangs, or what's the guy's name from Shrek? I'm gonna look like your boy. I just got my hair done. Anybody ever seen that one? Gone? Yeah. My peasant cut. I love my peasant cut. I look so pretty, I'm so witty, I'm so gay, as the song goes. That means happy. So yeah. Much love, as they say in the broadcasting realm. Peace and blessings to everyone on this supposed holy day, right? We're in the spirit of cheer as much as we can muster. And a happy new year, as they say. New calendar year. I don't know. They say there's a new year. It's not a new year. Halfway through the year is really the new year. Who fucking knows about anything anymore? You know, Abraham Accord. God bless us. But yeah, if I'm not back, peace and blessings to you folks, you and yours, all the family out there. God bless as well. Whoever, whatever that is. Paul Unaffiliated on the way out, starring, or courtesy of rather, Gorilla Gems. And maybe a song or two, because why the hell not? And like, share, subscribe. You have to tell the audience this. It's what I've learned from broadcasting. You got to like harass the audience to do your will, to boost the algorithm and shit like that. So you people have been here, 180 of you. I don't care if you like me or not. You fucking been here. I've given you whatever I got to give, whether you like it or not. And that's what you owe me back, okay? It's the least you people can do for taking up all my time, energy, attention, all right? And email. If you're not going to contribute and support to me because of my beautiful peasant-like hair and beard, email me songs, newsletters, Supreme Court decisions, anything to contribute to the broadcast and what I do here, of course, is welcome at all times. All right, ciao.
All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no reason. You understand?
I'm prized here by my fellow man and woman.
I never fucked anybody over in my life. Didn't have it coming. You got that?
They're all convicted based on the facts of the matter and the truth.
You want to go out with me? You say it. You don't? Then you make a move.
You don't tell me who's standing for foundational values and principles and sacrificing at times to secure our inherent natural rights to leave. You leave and go somewhere where you suck up to people who run your life with statute, policy, and code and dictate. You get the fuck out. I'm a real American.